Well, good evening. Welcome to the show. I'm David Sponheim, and this is America's Third Party. You can reach us at AmericasThirdParty.com. You write my name in. We'll give you an alternative to the existing collapsing two-party system. We are building a voter revolt online, and we've been doing it, and we'll continue to do it into the next cycle, 2020. You'll see the President 2020 signs on our site coming up in 2020. We've got a lot of people watching us on UHF channels around the globe. We want to thank all of you in South Korea, Australia, New Zealand, the people in Finland watching us. We've got a lot of supporters in the UK. We've got people in Canada who are very anxious to have a very friendly president, especially since Justin Trudeau is a seemingly friendly leader in Canada. So we've got a lot of people. Even in Mexico, we had great results. The news in Mexico was talking about me about 2 weeks ago. We had about 35,000 viewers in Mexico City, and I appreciate that too. We are not in any way trying to create a crisis by pushing for ideas like a 1,000-mile border fence, which is my idea. It's not Donald Trump's idea. We are not in any way trying to push for antagonism like Trump did about Mexicans who are trying to come over here and find a better life. We just can't allow people to come into our country and just break in willy-nilly and dig into an economy and then all of a sudden be a drain on our country's system. If you were in Mexico and if you're an American down there and you were there without a visa, you could go to jail for a year. So it's interesting that we've got a situation on our hands. We got 1,200 geisha girls watching in Osaka. Wow. Good evening, ladies. Welcome to the show. We really do, and I'm not in any way making this up. Our whole thing has been to push for 8 years a show that's been using word-of-mouth traffic to spread the word, and it's working. It is amazing. We are seeing results that are defying the elitists who think they can buy elections with their money. People like George Soros who've been manipulating the voting process in our country. You can see what he did in Arizona. He's being charged with an election law violation. George Soros funded a bunch of people that were trying to take over and become prosecutors. He's manipulating the process with his money. We don't let that happen. We're not answering to people like that. And when I become president, I won't have them on speed dial. I don't care about those people anymore. It's time to get the American people to fix this problem. We've wasted so many years allowing the rich and want to be famous like Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton to try to fix the problem, and they don't understand the problem. I don't agree with carbon trade or any type of free trade. I'm against NAFTA, CAFTA. I'm against the Trans-Pacific Partnership. I don't believe in carbon point legislation. I believe that we can actually fix the problem of the environment by working together to create innovations. We're actually running out of time, and cap and trade is too long of a timetable. Their projections are that they're going to get rid of 17% greenhouse emissions by 2030. That's not enough. They don't even acknowledge the simple fact that our country and many other countries are getting sprayed every single day with a product called chemtrail. And nobody in the country seems to understand that except for the people that are aware of it. So we're here to spread the word that they are dumping chemicals on you in massive amounts.
Where are the windows? And look at the wings. This plane is very strange and is poisoning the humanity.
They are literally putting chemicals in the atmosphere, thinking that they're pretending like they're going to reflect the sun. Somehow it's going to prevent global climate change. They're causing global climate change. And I'm the only person out here talking about this important issue politically. No other presidential candidate is running a real anti-chemtrail campaign. And this is going to ramp up for 2020 as well. I must tell you, I have secured another website to build my chemtrail strategy against chemtrails, to galvanize the American people to realize that this is a bizarre, almost a strange offshoot of the elitists who think that they can control everything, including our environment. And they're using technology that was created by Tesla, Nikola Tesla, back in the 1890s. He created these technologies. Weather modification, seeding the clouds with heavy metals, it's killing us. And this is a plan, that's a strategic plan that was put in place by the elitists to depopulate the earth. Now, you probably heard about depopulation in your classroom. If you go to college, that's all they teach you. They're brainwashing you. They're trying to make you believe that depopulation is the only answer to the problems in the world. They make you believe that the only solution to management of resources is to eliminate the population. These people are not that patient. They want you to die. They are poisoning the atmosphere, and they're taking out the human race. Now, I'm not trying to freak you out, but politically, your vote has never counted more than it is going to count in this election. We have a situation where every single night I come in here, and you can see them coming in all in force, trying to make statements and pound away at garbage. Soros gave Donald Trump $160 million in a joint business venture. So Donald Trump is a guy who takes Soros's money. I wouldn't. So you see these people coming in trying to attack us. And you can understand it's because I'm talking about the elephant in the closet. I'm talking about the emperor having no clothes. I'm the guy who's taking the risk, sharing how this nation is turning into a virtual chemical wasteland. So I'm extremely upset that this is going on right under our nose. They're spraying us like insects. And my plan to stop this depopulation trend is to make you aware of it. And the more we make people aware of it, the more we're going to stop this war that they're starting in Syria. The sooner we make people aware of the powerful elitists pulling the strings of the American government at the top level, the sooner we're going to get a complete restitution of our nation and bringing it back to the core values it was really here for, you, the American people. So I've got some really good ideas for the American people that really will kickstart a lot of you personally. $400 per month per U.S. citizen. We'll talk about that in just a bit.
We've got to stabilize the population. When I was born, there were
so what's wrong with the population? I mean,
with too many people. That's why we have global warming. We have global warming because too many people are using too much stuff. But if there were less people, they'd be using less stuff. We're altering the climate and the world in so many different ways. And what we're doing is reducing the Earth's carrying capacity so that each year the natural world gets poorer and less able to support the increasing number of people. We have a finite world, but an infinite ability to increase our population. We've got to stabilize population on a voluntary basis. Everybody in the world's got to pledge to themselves that 1 or 2 children is it.
Right.
Well, that's working out in China real well. Yeah. Now China has too many men, 3-to-1 ratio. It's creating problems internally with violence, etc. I'm sure that there's a real significant reason why this capitalist named Ted Turner wanted to get rid of the population. Usually these people make a lot of money by killing off the environment, and then they make the money by giving you all this product line, which is killing off the environment. You buy it, you make them rich. And this is true of people, merchandisers and marketing people in China as well. They still ignore the environment. The environment begins to choke off the population slowly by killing the population. I mean, we got more dangerous environmental spin-offs from the industrial age than you can even think of. And ironically, there's countries overseas that are dealing with that right now that we've been dealing with here in America. So our exporting the idea of consumerism is really kind of dangerous worldwide. So as much as I support consumerism, I also support the idea of ethically producing and getting rid of products that are dangerous to our nation's water supply, air supply, and food supply. Well, instead of dealing with the water supply, air supply, and food supply, Ted Turner wants to get rid of the population. So I'm proposing something much better. An idea of actually cleaning and filtering the air instead of dumping chemicals in the atmosphere, which is only creating greater aerosols and a depletion of our ozone layer. we are going to see modern innovations solve the problem, and it's not going to cost you a lot, because a lot of these ideas can be born out of ingenious startups, free enterprise operations that can be funded with environmentally ethical bond issues. We call them renewable energy savings bonds, and that's a better way to solve the planet's crisis than to tax you for your stake. Okay, it looks like AT&T is going to reach a deal to buy Time Warner for $85.4 billion. So Ted Turner is probably going to sell out because he owns a large portion of this. So apparently he wants to just make his money and run and then depopulate the world at the same time. We're the only species on the planet that actually wants to kill itself off. Think about it. Every other species is rapidly going together and copulating in the springtime. But we're humans, and we are simply trying to destroy ourselves off. And it's not us that's doing this. I'm sure a lot of you are having productive sex lives. The problem is the elitists want us gone. They don't want people to replicate. They don't want to create fresh water, pure water. Not in the closet, because I am a heterosexual. A lot of the crap coming in the chat room, because we want to leave guest chat open tonight, is purely a result of people that just want to shut us down. They're jealous. They're angry that I keep doing this, that I keep spreading the word. They're angry that this message keeps staying alive. They don't want that to happen. Now, we want to save the earth, obviously, but we also want to end the Federal Reserve. We want to make sure that the troops that are stationed overseas begin to subtract the number that we have overseas and bring them home. Thank you, Marcos. And we want to make sure that the American people and the people in the military know they're not going to lose their job. Under Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton, they're planning on getting rid of 500,000 military personnel. Donald Trump didn't make a big issue about this, but it is a serious issue from my perspective. We're going to keep the existing volunteer Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, National Guard, Coast Guard at a total of 2 million. We're not going to downsize over the next 10 years. We'll be needing your work protecting our borders. In major areas, we've got an expenditure of $7 billion going out to support the TSA. You know, the guys that grope you when you go to the airport? We don't need that. We could actually reduce the costs significantly. It would be great to just have plainclothes Army, Navy, or even National Guard and Coast Guard men and women at our airports, because they're already on salary. So we could save $7 billion off the cost of the TSA, and that'll translate to you and the cost of an airplane ticket. So.
I'm going to be a little while.
Yeah, no problem. We don't normally see you until the half-hour mark anyway.
Yeah.
All right, so being I have grown beyond their wildest expectations, you're seeing an almost bizarre group of hatred. A lot of it, I want all of you to know, is coming out of controlled, paid-off groups. They're controlled opposition. And a lot of these people that are coming in here are actually getting paid to hose our show. Trolls that are being paid, I'm serious. There are people that are very, very worried about this write-in campaign because they believe that it could very well take off with word of mouth. You see, the word of mouth thing, they can't control. There's no way they can stop you from telling your family and your friends about us. So they are a little worried because they don't even have metrics to know how much of this has penetrated the world. Now, a few weeks ago, somebody said my face was on a major billboard at a sports stadium. People are putting us up on 4K TV stations around the country. We appear at Costco's around the country because we have people working there and they just tune to our channel. Trump has a real problem with his contracts, yeah. I've never been involved in drugs. I have a perfect record, absolutely perfect. And you can do background checks on me and find that I am absolutely 100% the best person for the presidency. No history of any illegal activities. I have no history of taking money from groups. It's just bizarre. The people that are talking about me all the time are the ones that make you guys who come in here and troll us a little scared. No, I don't. I know. I've vetted this. We are working through an unbelievable level of brainwashing. Many of you Trump-tards and Clint-tards are absolutely, completely confused. What sort of system presents two losing scenarios? Very good question, guest 516. The system I'm referring to is our corrupt, totalitarian police state system. That's the one. We will mute and if you guys can't learn to phrase a question, and since you don't have any questions, I'm just muting and purging your derogatory statements. I don't really care who's come out of the closet for Trump. It really doesn't matter. I mean, if he gets gay support, that's great. I don't have to show you. The onus of proof is on you. If you're accusing me of a crime, just check it out. I think it's like $39 to get a criminal profile done on somebody. Feel free. I'm 100% clean. Nope, Donald Trump, you have to write my name in. Do you know what a pen is? You have to use your words, Donald Trump. You have to write my name in. So I want you to learn how to spell. I know that may be tough for you, being you graduated at Wharton. My idea of building a fence was in 2008. A 1,000-mile fence has been stolen by Donald Trump in 2014. I don't need to prove anything. Like I said, the onus of proof is on the accuser. You know, I'm broadcasting to get your opinions and your issues, not to sit and hose me, slander me, and call me names. So we will mute and turn down every single thing that you try to come up with, because I really don't have time to sit here and listen to your crap. The best America has to offer right now is a reality TV star and an ex-presidential wife. We can turn on, yeah, I'll turn guest off, but this is basically what I have to do. The goal is to allow people to come in who want to chat and have questions. I know, Neil. Thank you, ATP fan 1974 is going to vote for me in 17 days. Thank you so much. Yep, and making false statements about me, which are not true, is just slander. I know, Donald Trump. Tell me about it. Thank you. Oh, you voted for me? Excellent. Thank you very much, 5709. Cheers. You know, we'll be doing a lot of this throughout the whole process. And, you know, in order to get the good quality questions, you have to meet a certain quality standard. And if you don't meet that standard, you instantly get taken out. We don't have information on the last election because we didn't get up to 25,000. I never committed any larceny or anything illegal. Like I said, I have a perfect criminal record. She got an endorsement from the Green Party. Well, like I said, your statement will last about a half a second. Long enough for it to dry on a really hot day like a warm piece of diarrhea. Welcome to the show. Mutorama. If your statement in your chat doesn't meet the criteria here, you will be a hot pancake in the middle of the Mojave. We only purge because you're not asking questions. Did you learn how to use your words in elementary school when you tried to learn how to write? It'll be a pancake of diarrhea turned into a flat, hot toddy, we'll call it. Okay, I muted you one more time, but goodbye. Leave the show, you're an idiot. Do you believe, we got a real question here from Paul. Do you believe Obamacare should be repealed or built on? What are your thoughts? Paul, what we're going to do, hair's doing great. Paul, what we want to do is, suave, thank you. Like this tie, I know. Great. We want to actually make it almost impossible for Obamacare to be fulfilled. I'm going to be like flies on crap when it comes to auditing Medicaid and Medicare funds. Right now we're spending way too much money because nobody at the top is listening. Nobody at the top is listening to all the ripoff going on in the Medicaid, Medicare area. So when you look at the possibilities of there is freedom of speech, and there's freedom of speech. Yeah, there you go. If you don't recognize the need for people to actually end Obamacare because you don't even pay rates for insurance, you don't even care, you don't even have insurance, then you don't even understand the whole point. But we will nullify Barack Obama's ability to even sign on these things when we prosecute him for fraud. Thank you. Barack Obama is a person who's lied about his birth certificate, and I can prove it beyond any reasonable doubt. And that case has never migrated to the Supreme Court, and it's too bad because there's been collusion among our government officials to prevent Barack Obama from being prosecuted. Unlike Trump, I will prosecute Obama. We will definitely prosecute Hillary and Bill under the RICO Act. We believe that they've committed some sort of conspiratorial act of crime, and we will use the RICO Act to put it all together. Never had anything like that in my life. We're going to keep censoring anybody who keeps coming in here with slanderous statements. I'm tired of Obamacare. Yeah, I am. We don't have to prove anything. Look, if you guys can't come up with a cognitive thought and on an issue, and you're just brain dead and you're drooling, that's how you are. I'm not going to allow you to even chat in here. No, I would never throw old people in a FEMA camp. FEMA camps are only for border security, and all the FEMA camps in the northern sector and western and eastern sector will be broken down. Oh, I know what's going on. You guys are typing slow because we have slow on. We need to slow off. They've been setting slow on default every time I start the show. That's one of their ways of. There's one of their ways of censoring us here. Sarah's decision to be the vice president will begin. Ed, you're alive. Wow. Thank you, man. Ed's alive, everybody. He got out of the hospital 4-day day spa that he was in. Frankly, ATP fan 1974, freedom of religion is paramount in our country, but if you don't want to be around people that are performing Sharia law, there'll be a 1-800-REPORT Sharia law phone number that you'll be able to, just start attacking the local Sharia groups that are forming Sharia law groups. Say you have a Sharia law club meeting in your area. You'll be able to report them. But there won't be IDing of Muslims. We're going to prosecute anybody that engages in Sharia law that affects the rights and freedoms of the American citizenry. If you're forcing your daughter to marry her rapist, she definitely will be having... Great, excellent. She definitely will be having... your family would be prosecuted. Your daughter would be put into protective custody if needed against her rapist. I mean, there's a lot of things we can do to circumnavigate. A husband killing his wife would be called murder. So you can't exactly do that even though she stared at another man. So there's going to be a strong judicial response to anyone trying to impose another form of law in America. No, that's just not true. Everything on the dark net is wrong about me. Well, they're concerned. They know that Trump is acting like a peevish little dog, going, well, maybe I might lose. And he's acting like he's been hurt. Somebody hurt his feelings, like a little boy. No, Ed's can be muted for 15 minutes. It's okay. Well, they call the 800 number, report Islamicism. Or I won't know what the number is until we actually get it. Report jihad. Oh, it's only 5 minutes? Oh, sorry, Ed. You get only 5 minutes. I wish it was 15 minutes. Don't keep espousing and supporting a guy who already says he might lose. I mean, can you imagine? You guys put your hope and faith behind a guy who's peevishly acting like he's going to lose now. Can you imagine? You people don't even understand the fighting power of the American people. I'm an American. You can't make me surrender at any stage during this race. I'm never going to give up. And I'm moving on to the next cycle of the election of 2020. But you see people like Trump who want it because their ego wants it. I'm in this to fix this country, not to stand there and peevishly, oh, no, I'm not sure I'm going to win or not. Oh. I look like Jed? Thanks. They argue like school kids. Very sad indeed, Paul. And the issues they didn't talk about, you name it. Jeb Clampett? Okay, so we haven't had any response whatsoever from the Clinton or the Trump campaign on issues like stopping GMOs. You know the things that they're poisoning us with? GMOs. I'm going to go slow for all of you to understand. Genetically modified food is showing up as tumors in laboratory animals after 4 months. They don't talk about fluoride in our water system. Nobody ever mentions that. I want to end fluoride by executive order, and we will test the water in every city. You'll be sending samples in to a general address, and we'll be going through and testing the samples. And chemtrails. We're going to stop the things that they're spraying in the sky because they're not doing a damn good thing. They're killing off the atmosphere. And we want to stop forced vaccinations. Neither one of the candidates is really above board and vocal about these issues. These are the issues of facing Americans, and this is why you need to write me in the upcoming election. It's an old boys network out there, folks. It's not something that these two people, I believe that Donald Trump was put in the race to get people to think that Hillary's the only way they have. They don't want anyone to even allow me into the conversation or even get into the debates because they don't want a third party choice. You see, the powerful elitists want to control the gateway to just two choices. And that gives you the illusion of freedom. But they don't talk about these issues at all. And we want to end the Fed. We want to stop the Federal Reserve, which is killing our country and forcing it to do the bidding of the World Bank and the IMF. Now, if you want to use fluoride, by all means, just go ahead and smear it on your teeth and then rinse your mouth out. Because there's almost every single toothpaste out there, with the exception of Tom's of Maine and a Trader Joe's toothpaste, are fluoride. Full of fluoride. So if you really want fluoride, just smear it on your teeth and rinse your mouth out. You got the choice. But by putting it in our water system, it's just disastrous. Well, let's be clear. See, some of you have learned to stop the hatred and the terrible things, except for one person who's being muted right now. Pep Boys has a toothpaste? Okay. And talking about that is really unnecessary. Let's focus on your future and how you're probably going to go to a FEMA camp and get forced vaccinated. And if you don't accept that, you'll be RFID chipped. Either way, you'll be RFID chipped. Yeah, let's talk about that instead. And how nobody seems to be standing up for the American people except for me. Let's talk about that. And if we don't get somebody out there with a vocal cord to scream for decency and truth and honesty in government, then we're screwed. You think you're taking a break? Yeah, right. I'm faster than you are. We're screwed! All right, everybody, welcome to the show. So let's get rid of this this elite control of our country. So in 2008, I came up with Broke Insane Obamas because I knew. Let me do slow off now. I'll have to just keep doing it because it's on automatically now. No, I'm building up a better country right now. We're improving this country. I did this not to be racially derogatory, but only to impersonate a black president. And they call me a racist when I've never said a racial slur in my life. Now that's really, really amazing to me because it's a litmus test of how little people know about their freedoms. I have the ability of speaking out about a bad president using satire. But the American people don't understand that. So we have to make sure they do. And they too can speak out about things they don't like. Now, I would never make a law against criticizing a president. You're welcome to criticize every single thing in this room if you really want to on the issues. But people come in here making up stories about me. They're not true. And that's the part that I mute. But if you want to disagree with our plan to provide fast-track naturalization, and you don't want any refugees ever to give it a chance to become a U.S. citizen legally, feel free. Disagree with it all you want. I mean, I had to offer at least something, a bone to the left on this issue. And when Barack Obama used my wording that I created in 2008, fast-track naturalization, when he used it in the State of the Union speech, I knew that they were listening. I knew that that Obama was trying to morph himself into me. Now, I've been in here doing this show for 8 years, and they can only make facsimiles of me. They can't make me. And because you, the American people, are the only link I have to get me into the White House, I keep appealing to you. So this is the country we're going to fix, America, and we're going to make it happen because we, the American people, have never had a chance to fix our country. I don't have a child, no. That's not true. You believe that I am more a black person than Barack Obama? Well, who cares? What's wrong with black people? What the hell's wrong with you people? Are you really racists? Is that what you are? You realize how mentally retarded that is? My goodness. I understand the history of blackface, and I'll tell you something. If you don't recognize the work that many of the great blackface entertainers, like Brown, he was one of the best blackface entertainers. He was a black man. He was a vaudevillian that did blackface as a black man. He was one of the guys that opened up the great opportunities for all the black entertainers today. And without blackface, we wouldn't see hip-hop, we wouldn't see rap, because a lot of the people who are top-notch Jewish executives in the entertainment sector have relatives and history in the entertainment vaudeville era. So, I mean, you got to understand, I'm not going to erase 40 years of history. The greatest entertainer of all times, Al Jolson. Now, if white people are allowed to speak openly about issues and not worry about having white guilt or something, that's going to be a good big bit of progress. Right now, so many white people are afraid to talk about their concerns about the growing number of ethnic minorities in their neighborhood. Let's talk about it. I don't have a problem talking about it. I think ethnic minorities are a little upset that they don't have as many opportunities in their mind as white people, when in fact it's quite the opposite. White people have been victimized by affirmative action and have been unable to go to colleges and get scholarships, whereas blacks, Hispanics, Asians have been able to get more scholarships. So we've got to open this idea up. And if we don't, we're really remiss. You know, I have Native American history. You notice how ISIS doesn't attack Israel? Well, why would the Israeli Secret Intelligence Service attack Israel? I mean, really. And there you go. Al Jolson was Jewish. Exactly. He's famous for that statement, "Mammy, gotta love you, Mammy." That was a great show. You know, if you had been around during that era, you would have seen it. But not all of you are as old as I am. With blood transfusions, I look pretty good, don't I? But no, seriously, we are not going to sit around and call people names in my administration. We're going to bring basically a completely mixed hodgepodge of individuals into the administration, whether you're left, right, or in the middle. Politically, I'm open to your opinions. And I also want you to know that everybody will have access to the White House, no matter what your race is, or your creed, or your religion. We're not going to single people out who are specifically Muslims and target them like Donald Trump says he wants to do. It's ridiculous to even think of that in a country that was predicated on freedom of speech and freedom of religion. John Watson and the work of Jensen, Shockley, in the 50s, James Watson and the work of Jensen and Shockley in the 50s, irrelevant. Claiming people are higher or lower intelligence based on their race, it's divisive. It's of no value. I'm not a eugenicist. So welcome to the show, everybody. Believe me, I understand the nature and desire of the Zionists to take over the world, and I'm an anti-Zionist. I've read all of the statements that you think they said, and I certainly understand your perspective. Unlike Donald and Hillary, I'm not going to embrace a cozy relationship with Israel. We will, however, do everything we can to open a door of dialogue and treat them with respect. Unlike Barack Obama, who didn't even give Netanyahu a place at the table when he came over to our country to talk. He didn't even invite him to dinner. You realize what an incredible slam that was to him? So instead of just doing the bidding of elitists, I would rather listen to the state of Israel and their concerns, but not cater to them. And I will ask them to sign the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty because we really believe they have nuclear weapons. It's time. And Hillary and Donald have not talked about that. Okay, signing the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Agreement will prevent Israel from either getting the money that they're slated to get, $35 billion over 10 years, or it'll give them their money and they'll admit that they have nuclear weapons and they don't have a robust plan of creating more nuclear weapons. We then take that and bring it back to Iran and say this is the plan and we have to stick to this plan. Because right now we're opening a door to trade with Iran, which is not exactly something I had expected from Barack Obama. I didn't think we'd be trading with a terrorist nation. I'm against the Trans-Pacific Partnership and all that it contains. I have a plan for peace, a plan for world peace, which I'll present at Davos in Switzerland in 2017 if I'm elected president. Whether I do it through video or simply talking to them individually at the White House. We're going to give people a real alternative to what we've had so far. Now, the biggest conflict in the world as we move forward is not going to be population. The biggest conflict precedes population. It's called water. Water has been the source of animosity between various sects of Muslims for years. That's one of the reasons why Shiites and Sunnis are not happy with each other, aside from their religious differences. Jordan accessed all the water rights in that region, and many of the other countries feel like they didn't have enough. So when I talk about an ocean pipeline project for the U.S. and California, I'll also be discussing this issue across the globe and talking about helping to produce them and exporting them to the countries or helping them design their own seawater pipelines. I'll be a protagonist for creating passive desalination systems that do not require any electricity, any fossil fuel, or anything to create fresh water. And that's what the Ocean Pipeline Project does. Now, what does this have to do with war? Well, I'm presenting a very simple relationship. It's a simple concept. It's easy to understand, but water equals food equals prosperity equals peace. And all these things work together to create a solution for our nation and other nations as well. It also eliminates this need to depopulate. And it works to create a solid backing for the human race to continue thriving as opposed to being eaten up by the rich, greedy pigs who think that they control the world. Okay, Anthony wants to know how to hide from surveillance. Well, if you're worried about the NSA watching you, and you're concerned about them checking on your searching activity, there is a site that you can go to called DuckDuckGo. And if you go to DuckDuckGo, you'll see that they actually have one of the best rated sites for not being searchable by the NSA. That's one thing you can do. DuckDuckGo. Look it up. There are other sites that offer a start page is one that claims that they're pretty safe. Tor has already been compromised. Thank you. DuckDuckGo. Look it up. Tor has been compromised. The email server at Tor has been hacked into. So if you're looking for like journalistic integrity and making sure nobody can get to it, then consider that. Okay. So it's a very simple concept. Water will make everything better. Water heals. We're comprised mostly of water. Water is good. Okay, Tor is better than nothing, but try streaming video on Tor and you'll have a problem. Okay. Linux, yeah, build your own platform so it's completely impenetrable. I guess Ubuntu is still one of the better packages that you can get for free of Linux. All right, great. So now that I brought up water and talking about the benefits of water, it's almost like we calmed the whole show down. Isn't that amazing? Water has a pacifying effect. Now what happens here is the seawater goes in the middle here. It's pumped in through renewable energy sources like wind power or solar pumps. And we move the water from module to module, and these modules are closed units and the sun bakes in on them. And the seawater in the middle evaporates, and dewdrops of evaporated water that are now humidified and dehumidified are condensed on the inside of the dome, and they drop to the side where they create perfectly pure water, 100% pure water. And it's all done without fossil fuel. We don't have to pay for the clean water through hybrid capitalism per se. We can get funding from various options. One of them is the renewable energy savings bonds I was talking about, where people invest, and that is hybrid capitalism. There is a fast chat mode, really? I didn't think there was. I ended slow. No, I don't suffer from homosexual panic, but you might. You know, I think VPNs have been taken over. I don't trust any of them. The government has a tremendous amount of money. They could easily buy up all the VPNs and proxy servers in the world. I mean, it's totally possible. So why wouldn't they? I don't believe Russia will attack us, and I believe one phone call to Vladimir Putin, and what I'm going to say to him is that we are going to not fund rebel troops in Syria, automatically pulling back on the amount of funding we currently gave the rebels, which ended up turning into ISIS forces, ironically. And much of those dollars went into buying ridiculous things like Toyota pickups with turrets on them for submachine guns. And that all went into enemy hands. And they even photographed the enemy having those trucks. And they were purchased by the State Department. So Hillary exposed is that she and Barack Obama funded the growth of ISIS. And I said that months ago, years ago. And Donald Trump heard it and said it in the middle of a speech. And then all of a sudden, somehow he didn't understand it, because ISIS is not the real threat that they say they are. It's a propaganda ploy by the CIA to make you think war is imminent. So single men will get the right to start a family under a new definition of infertility. Huh. Single men and women without medical issues will be classed as infertile if they do not have children but want to become a parent? Oh my God. I don't get it. In a move which dramatically changes the definition of infertility, the World Health Organization will declare that it should no longer be regarded as simply a medical condition. Authors of the new global standards said the revised definition gave every individual the right to reproduce. Whose definition of infertility is now classed as a disability has been the failure to achieve pregnancy after 12 months or more of a regular unprotected sex. I just think it's big government too inclusive in our life. We should get them out of our life, especially the UN. I've never said I was gay. I've never been gay. I'm not cooperating with Putin. I'm merely saying that we're not going to fund rebels in Syria. I'm not cooperating. He's not my best friend. You're thinking about having a baby, you're 45 and in debt. You should have thought about that when you were 25. The pipeline theory will work, yes. I would gladly marry Sarah at the White House, but we don't believe government should be involved in marriage, so it'll be a spiritual, ceremonial marriage. Less government, yeah. What are the views on frozen water? I don't have views on frozen water in the sun. I wish I did. Sorry. I'm not religious, no. But I believe in God and I have a personal relationship with the Lord. But I'm not religious. Okay, Doctors Without Borders just refused... No, thanks. Just refused a $1 million vaccine donation from Pfizer, and this is probably a good thing. They know something that we've been talking about the dangers of vaccinations for some time, but Doctors Without Borders has a strong message for giant pharma company Pfizer. We don't want your charity. This is much more than just a petty rebuke based on principle. At the heart of the refusal lies a fundamental crisis in modern healthcare. Yep, there's no such thing as free vaccines. They aim to save lives. Decades ago, medical researchers found a way to expose the kid's body to benign parts of bacteria, teaching their immune systems to destroy it without risky immune response. They developed a vaccine. But they're refusing millions of vaccines. It seems nonsensical, but the humanitarian organization sees donations as highly valuable, yet this time they argue it's simply not worth it. The donations can come with specific caveats regarding where the vaccines will be administered and who can receive them. And this could actually slow down vaccine campaigns and make them less efficient. And basically, donations like this are basically a big PR umbrella for corporations. Okay. I'm concerned that the vaccines are actually... they're containing... Hi, Sarah. I'm concerned the vaccines contain dangerous chemicals. One chemical is called nagalase, and you look it up, you'll find out it's in presence actually brings on tumor production whenever it's present. Nagalase, and there's glyphosate in vaccines that have been discovered. That glyphosate is basically Roundup. I mean, who wants to shoot Roundup into their veins? So maybe the Doctors Without Borders is aware of that, but they're not talking about it. I like that, yeah.
I did not know that, 147. It is interesting, and I could see how that's a possibility, but I wonder, is it when you say it's frozen water, is it like, never mind.
Don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. So Doctors Without Borders has done the right thing. I got a couple videos I got to play of Donald Trump. Looks like fun stuff, but Weird Al Yankovic did something. The true meaning of ISIS is not what you think. Okay?
ISIS is the goddess of love.
Yeah. And then there's a site dedicated to called Trump-clock.com, and Donald Trump has managed not to threaten to sue a journalist or critic in the last 9 hours and 36 minutes. So far, Donald Trump has not threatened to sue a journalist or a critic. And he's on 9 hours and 36 minutes, and we think that's big progress for Donald.
He might be sleeping.
He might have been sleeping during this time, and he didn't tweet any type of a threat to sue somebody. Rid of this. And we just found out Obama released another 52,000 illegal alien kids into the U.S. in 2016, 72,000 in 2015. And let's see. Okay, we'll get rid of that because I don't really feature that. And this is a really interesting story, Sarah. Tonight, in the pre-show, we found out that Donald Trump brags about having superior genes, German blood. Isn't this amazing? Let me play a video for you guys, and it's 1 minute and 34 seconds. It's pretty powerful. It makes you wonder, is Donald Trump like a eugenicist? Is he one of these superiority German guys that thinks he's superior? This may be the most dangerous part of the Donald Trump campaign.
All men are created equal. Well, it's not true. Because some are smart, some aren't.
The family subscribes to a racehorse theory of human development.
When you connect two racehorses, you usually end up with a fast horse.
Secretariat doesn't produce slow horses.
They believe that there are superior people, and that if you put together the genes of a superior woman and a superior man, you get a superior offspring.
You have to have the right genes.
I have a certain gene. I'm a gene believer.
Do we believe in the gene thing? I mean, I do. I have great genes and all that stuff, which I'm a believer in.
Well, I think I was born with a drive for success.
I was born with a certain intellect. The fact is, you have to be born and blessed with something up here. God helped me by giving me a certain brain. It's this. It's not my salesmanship.
It's what?
This. You know what that is? It's the brain power.
I have Ivy League education, smart guy.
I have like a very, very high aptitude. I'm pretty good at English. I always did very nicely in English. I mean, like, I'm a smart person. You're born a fighter, and I've seen a lot of people, they want to fight, but they can't. Some people cannot genetically handle pressure. I always said winning is somewhat maybe innate. Maybe it's just something you have. You know, you have the winning gene. Frankly, it'd be wonderful if you could develop it, but I'm not so sure you can. You know, I'm proud to have that German blood. There's no question about it. Great stuff.
Wow. That was pretty intense. He thinks he's superior. They call that racialism. Yeah, it's really, I want to puke. I know I want to puke too. I know. And, you know, I never changed my name. It's still David Sponheim. I didn't change to David von Spahn or something. Donald Trump's family was Drumpf, D-R-U-M-P-F. And he decided, his grandfather decided to actually stop it.
Oh, they should change it.
Change what?
Trump vows to sue all female accusers.
Oh.
This was posted 1 hour ago.
They need to change the site. Yeah. He vows to sue all female accusers. Wow. Okay, so that's definitely, he broke his 9 hours without threatening to sue some journalists. Alrighty. Yeah, let me get the write-in thing to stop. Hold on. People don't want to see my names flashing all over the screen.
AT&T has reached a deal to buy Time Warner for $85.4 billion.
Yeah. That's more than Bayer is paying to buy Monsanto, $66.6 billion. Wow. That has an ominous effect when $66.6 billion is spent to buy a pesticide and genetically modified research facility that's been making chemical weapons for years. And Bayer, it turns out, actually is a former Nazi corporation under Adolf Hitler. People don't realize that. So they're trying to create more weapons of chemical nature, just like Hitler did. So now they'll own the weapons manufacturer and the chemical and biogenetics labs of Monsanto. Wow, this is getting really interesting, isn't it? I would never approve that sale, by the way. I would never have authorized Bayer's takeover of Monsanto. I would have stopped it. And I'm not sure if I want a mega corporation devouring other mega corporations. I'm tired of monopolies. I'll be back. Thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to mute that right over there.
6, 7. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, cool.
I always liked that actress, Julia Roberts. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thousands of California soldiers are forced to repay an enlistment bonus a decade after going to war. That's so ridiculous. Natalie from The Facts of Life? I haven't seen that show for a long time. of troops to fight in Iraq and Afghanistan. A decade ago, the California National Guard enticed thousands of soldiers with bonuses of $15,000 or more to re-enlist and go to war. Now the Pentagon is demanding the money back. Whoa. They've not only been ordered to repay the large enlistment bonuses, they've been slapped with interest charges, wage garnishments, and tax liens if they refuse. There was overpayments by the California Guard at the height of the wars last decade. Lack of oversight allowed for widespread fraud and mismanagement by California Guard officials under pressure to meet enlistment targets. Soldiers say the military is reneging on 10-year-old agreements and imposing severe financial hardship on veterans whose only mistake was to accept bonuses offered when the Pentagon needed to fill the ranks. Wow. I say they should not have to repay that money. The bonuses were used to keep people in. He refinanced his home mortgage to repay $25,000 in re-enlistment bonuses and $21,000 in student loan repayments that the Army said he should not have received. Wow. And he says, Christopher Van Meter, a former Army captain, said, people like me just got screwed. Wow. Susan Haley sends the Pentagon $650 a month, a quarter of her family's income, to pay down bonuses the Guard says were given to her improperly. That's just crazy. If they gave them the money, leave it at that. Don't garnish their wages. They deserve those enlistment bonuses. Wow. Yes, the AT&T reached a deal to buy Time Warner for more than $80 billion. You're probably right, Toadere, and I did not stay on top of that this year. I didn't realize that 35 states require it. I only knew of one state that required it. All right, thank you. The thing, all right, I was, voice actors are striking against video game companies. Actress Jennifer Hale has an extensive resume within the gaming industry, but now they're going on strike. And Airbnb is suing New York based on because of New York's new rules about subletting. Which 8 states, Toad? Yeah, David may have time. What are the 35 states that he needs to submit this into? You probably have done more research in this area than I have. I've done a lot of research to get him on the ballot, but I haven't done as much research on... All right, thank you. "83 people were arrested at the Dakota Access Pipeline protests in North Dakota." Yes, I'm voting for David. And then I guess I'll be doing this paperwork for David too. Okay. Thank you. I was more, when I first started doing the research, I was more interested in the other one. And actually getting David on the ballot. Okay. They've done a really good job at Ballotpedia. Yeah. Oh, that's good. They have all the numbers of signatures needed, and that's very good. They've done a great job over there. Yes, I probably will, Mr. Cyclops. It's just the way it is. That's true, because I'm in charge. I do the paperwork, and I haven't done all the paperwork I need to do, obviously. Yeah, that's true, Toad. You're right. Well, thank you for reminding me of that information. Yeah, you demand more work from me. I demand more work from you. That's what I'll say. Just, if you want David to be on the ballot, or you want David as your president, you would have to work for it. So there's a gas spill. A pipeline runs under Wallace Run, a waterway, and there was some kind of gas spill, but they've said it has not had an impact on the water so far. Who do you want me to ban? Yes, getting on the ballots is much harder. Sorry, Mad Dog. I mean, I suppose instead of reading Google News, I'll start filling out the paperwork for all of the writing, for all the states I need to do for David's write-in campaign. All right. Done. You're reading wow. That's interesting, ATP fan. Hello. How are you doing things? Offensive hammer. Yeah, well, he's gonna stay there for a while. At first I didn't... Oh, goodness. This means I gotta... Okay. Will David make anime real? It's not possible to make anime real. That's what I would say. All right. Don't hurt yourself. Maybe you can make anime real at like an anime convention. Well, no, because I don't always have I'm not always the smartest person. Which is fine. Where is David? David's in the other room. Doing whatever David does. Which is fine with me. That's what David does, so. Okay, you have the answer to the population. You don't want stores to sell flip-flops? Okay. What does David do every night at 7? Well, usually it's like 6:30, and it all depends. Usually he makes me dinner. David doesn't have anything like that. We're together 798. I don't dislike anyone for the most part. Actually, I would like to say I don't dislike anyone. Okay, let's see this. Okay. I did do small little braids all over my hair, but never, as they say, I guess they could call it a cornrow, a little braid in my hair, like in rows. I haven't done that. I know you love David. David will be back soon. All right. Okay, how many days is it till the election? It's coming up pretty soon. It's like, I guess it's like less than 2 weeks away. No, David's not grading my papers. I'm working on grading David's papers. Okay. Time seems to slow down because Sarah is slowing down. It's fine. Which I am fine with it. Yeah, why be concerned about something so personal? Oh, thanks. 270 to win. The 2016 election countdown clock, 16 days, 5 hours, 43 minutes, 27, whatever. No, 781, I'm totally with David. That's such a mean thing to say. What size dress do I wear? Like a 11? You got your ballot today. That's fantastic, Lemon Moon. The David is fine. I don't want to play a funny video, no. I find that funny, ATP fan, but sure, if you say so. There are mentions of Sponheim and WikiLeaks. I would like to see that. How much do I weigh? I weigh 150 pounds or so, maybe more. David is not wearing a wig. Every once in a while David wears a wig, but it's so obvious, and David actually says on those days that he's wearing a wig, but most of the time David does not wear a wig. The door is as closed as it's going to be. You'll have to hear David. Just the way it is. Thank you. I look heavier or older or something like that. I'm gonna have good bones. Well, I'm 5'11", so that's one of the things. Oh, I don't cook. I don't do dishes. What do I do for David? I give him a break on his show. Question is, what do you do for David? Yes, I am tall. That's why I weigh so much. I'm sure he is 7 to 8. Well, I will see my dentist pretty soon. Alright, ATP fan, that's enough, thank you. Otherwise you'll get banned as soon as David comes back, so. Will I buy you a new computer? No, I won't. Thanks for asking, though. Yeah, the thing, me too. Alright, what do you think, 953? The way chat rooms work. Alright, is Connie gone? Yes. Thank you, 444. E-famous, boom boom, sure. E-famous. Woohoo! Yay. I think I'm just having a bad day. I'm having a long day. Let's say that. Just a long day. No, that doesn't make someone a certain way if they love to cook or... You can see me handling things much easier now. Well, yeah. Easier than, what, 8 years ago? Oh yes, thank you. A smooth operator. Thank you. That's me. No, I don't hate things. Well, not too many things. Why aren't delivery drivers ever hot blonde chicks? Because hot blonde chicks usually attract men and make them work for them. David Cross. No, no one's ever told me I look like David Cross. Okay, yay. Alabama should be actually white because there's 10 states. Alabama is one that no filing required. Okay. Well, oh yes, I could start banning all of the tabs, but that's it. Yeah, thanks, Toad. So now I have to really look through every single state, right? Some have probably shifted to not requiring it, and some have shifted to requiring it. David doesn't need to work. He wants to teach people that you don't have to work. It's pretty cool. Okay, thank you, Toad. Well, not on that map. It's like Nevada says it's fine, but I mean, or Mississippi says it's not required, but then I guess it is required. Let me look at Mississippi. Thank you. Maybe you can be in charge of David's paperwork next campaign. You have the list of the ones that won't let you write in. Oh, write-in voting is not required in Mississippi. Oh, the ones in white are not permitted. The ones in dark brown is no requirements. All right. Let me put that in. Yes, Mississippi is a state. Okay. I'm serious. Yes, I know. It's like you can't vote for Hillary. You can't vote for Clinton. You can't vote for Trump. Might as well write in David Sponheim. At least have a say. Yeah, exactly the thing. You think you found my mom on RuneScape? She's rich and a max combat person. That probably is her. I'm fine, thank you for your concern. But there's a footnote, so they allow it, but they just make it difficult. No, David doesn't order pizza. Are you kidding? I can never see him doing that. Why do you want World War III? So I have the 8. Oh, Hawaii. All right. Oh, you think it's the only way to solve problems? Yeah, they haven't found an escape yet. Alright, now I'm going to start getting dates and stuff. Write-ins. Fun. Not really fun. You hope David's making a pumpkin pie? I can tell you that he's not. I think he's making coffee. You think David's a troll? What makes you think that? Alright, I'll work on the dates. Oh, that's going to be file not found. At least, I mean, I can find the dates by looking up each state, so I'm working on that right now. Thanks, Totore. Did something just happen? Yes, David was just making coffee. You think hand-to-hand combat for the leaders would be better than World War III? I think David would win, of course. How many days it is? Is it 16 days? Okay. That's good to know. I'm gonna just start making some notes. This is Arizona. And then 14, 40, 45, 78. Hello, Bigman. How are you? I thought David banned you, but now you're unbanned? Good. I don't mind. I think it's... I like you, so it's good with me. As Aki David's movies. That's funny. David is a forgiving person. It's a possibility you might be banned. Oh, did Ed pass away last week? It wouldn't surprise me too much. Should we, have a moment of silence or something like that? You're beginning to think a lot of people were taught by her? Washington. How do you suppose that we should do that? I should... All right. What is... Few bands would keep the guests in line. That's true. Well, You can vote for whoever you think 444, but I don't support other candidates in this room. So is that their opening? That's kind of cute, Scissor Fight. Oh, Ed was on today and doctors don't know what's wrong with him. Think I could try to figure it out. I might look like I have a hairy chin because my hair is in front of my chin, but I don't have a hairy chin.
Okay, I made the dinner and I have it all ready for you. It's on the stove. Thank you so much for filling in. All right. Yeah.
What?
Wow, can you believe all the stuff that people, have been allowed to do? Yeah, you should be quiet. Yeah, I can't believe it.
Here, let's just start over.
All right, great.
That
Let's
way
do.
you don't
Thank
have
you.
to see all the bad comments.
Hi, Beekman. Yeah, we encountered you again. I did an unban all last night because I'm having a lot of second thoughts about a lot of you. I'm hoping that you'll come around. Hope springs eternal, and I have faith in a lot of you that you'll wake up to what's happening in the country. And now the two parties have been hijacked by very wealthy monetary elitists who are playing dishonestly, censoring people like us. So yeah, we have been censored for 8 years. Please don't try to deny it. It's obvious to a lot of people in here. Thank you. No, my shirt is appropriately a 1/4 of an inch room so that my neck doesn't feel like it's too tight. Yeah. Finger, they say finger. You can put your finger in there. And it's a little looser than finger, but it's 2 fingers. We didn't ban Salty.
I did.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for banning him.
Yep.
That's good. I'm glad you banned Salty because he was getting a little out of hand. I think he's been without a woman for all these years and his hair is disappearing. So he's balding and he's undergoing a lot of personal stress, I think. Do you even have a heart? If it was you, you would want sympathy? What, towards Salty?
No, he's saying Ed.
Oh my God, Ed. Jeez, Sarah doesn't care much about Ed because Ed didn't take all the opportunities we gave him. We did everything we could to help him, and now he's a ward of the state. Let's click on that. Whoa, that's bizarre. Thank you. Great link there. Thank you, Scissor Fight. And Ed just had a day spa, so he's feeling a little bit better. 4 days in the hospital. Dinner, in the time I was gone, I had nothing prepared. I had cabbage, peas, frozen peas, a head of cabbage, and Yukon Gold potatoes, and chicken breasts. And I started a chicken breast curry on oil, and I defrosted everything, power defrosted the chicken breast. I peeled the potatoes, 3 big Yukon Gold potatoes, and I microwaved them in chunks, pre-microwaved them, and then I threw them in the hot pot with all the curry and the peas and the cabbage. It was kind of like a good old Irish cabbage dinner. Yeah. The luck of the Irish. I can't believe the kind of things you allow in this chat room. Thank you. So you working on a few write-in requirement updates?
Oh.
Yeah,
no.
Okay. All right, so.
This is the only ones that, so far, that I found that you can possibly do.
Okay, good.
Oh, shoot. I don't know what that is.
I don't think that qualifies there on that one. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and talk to the room here.
Okay. But see, late.
Yeah.
Late.
Well, we're not to blame because, lack of donations up to this point. you know. And a lot of new rules have come out. Thank you, though. Whoa, wait a second. We got to stop you right here. You're Irish?
We should just turn off guest chat. That would be good.
Well, I'm okay with guest chat as long as I can do what I want you to do, which is to trim the chat. Thank you, Sarah. Dinner is on the stove. Enjoy. Don't cry over spilled milk, and don't waste your time with certain lost cause states. There's a reason why they're keeping third parties out of their states as best they can, any way they can, and any type of write-in candidate they're trying to stop too. There's a reason why the laws are all twisted and unfair and unequal, because there is no equal protection under the law when it comes to ballot access law for the U.S. presidency and the U.S. senatorship and House of Representatives. Everything's thawed. Everything's really quick cooked. I mean, I did a 20-minute cook. You saw it. Actually, it was 30 minutes because I needed to put that level up at 6 and pound that dinner. I could feed 4 people comfortably with that meal I just made. Yeah. Let's just ask the big questions, folks. Why would we want a guy who womanizes and forces people to listen to his flip-flopping? Like when he said that Obama could be born in Kenya, and now he says he's born in the United States, but he doesn't even say it. He won't even say it. He's that weak as a presidential candidate. He won't even outright say that he thinks that Obama was born in the United States. His cabinet, his team, Rudy Giuliani, said it, which makes you wonder, is this guy really for real? Because everything he says seems to be all over the place. It's like he's lying just to get your vote. Tonight's dinner, total cost? Ooh, wow. I'm going to say $3. $3, 4 people. Yeah. We buy everything on sale, and when we do get a big 10-pound bag, or I got a 15-pound bag of Yukon Golds for $4, which is amazing. I think the George Soros story needs to be investigated, Beekman. Flat out. He's violating the law. And he's going to be looking at... We're talking vote rigging going on. Unbelievable. Women should vote, ATP fan. Oh, I disagree. But you're entitled to disagree with me. Donald Trump seems to have lost track of reality because he seems to be engaging in what appears to be a kind of an endless, I guess, a constant lie to the people that vote for him. That he wants to have a strong border, but he can't possibly pay for it. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. Well, I'm having a problem deciphering. So I agree with Sarah. We're going to go guest off just for a little bit. Yeah, I just like it. They're just hosing down the room, and it makes it hard to read the real chat. Okay, you can see how desperate and how very frightened they are that I may actually do some damage to the Trump campaign and the Hillary campaign simultaneously. Well, that's the problem. They all lie, but why can't we just figure out how to fix this? You know, let's just get somebody with good logical skills like myself or Sarah, and let's just work this out. And let's get the American people involved. God, it's just amazing how many fruity asses there are out there, Scissor Fight. Yeah, it's weird. They come in here trying to hook up. Cubs are going to the World Series. Whoa, right on. Good luck, Cubs.
Sure thing. Certainly.
Outstanding. So yeah, we've unbanned people like duct tape and people like that. So it was a tough week we've had. We've got a lot of situations where the opposition is just really fearful that I'm going to make a big dent in their plan, and they had never expected this site to be this popular. And even though they're censoring us on Vaughn, and they constantly put slow on, I put slow off to bypass the automatic feature. So if you guys are having problems getting your word out, it's coming. That's pretty funny. Scissorfight brought in a picture of a ready-made muffin container, and it just doesn't work out right. Start opening it. Whoop, I'm almost there. Whoops. That's not funny, but it's sick. Sick funny. I guess it is funny. Guest chat, please stop. We stopped it. Thank you. Whatever you're thinking right now, you've got to be wondering, why aren't the two parties talking about the key issues facing our country? Why is it I'm the one who's bringing up the core issues about legalizing marijuana, cleaning the ocean, ending the Fed? I still am carrying the torch that Ron Paul carried and his son Rand. Rand and Ron. Ron and Rand. It'd be something to have them at the dinner table, wouldn't it? It'd be one hell of a conversation, I got to tell you. Okay, so a lot of us want to get involved in the political process. That's a given. One of the biggest problems we're having in general, you've got something, Neil? Okay. No Facebook. Diversity doesn't explain your support of Thiel. Venture investor Facebook Peter Thiel said he would donate $1.25 million to Donald Trump's presidential campaign. And the news prompted wide condemnation of Thiel's clear support of a candidate who was being publicly accused of sexually assaulting women. The timing of Thiel's donation seemed to indicate that not only was Thiel still willing to back Trump, he strongly endorsed Trump's actions. As a result of his tone-deaf pledge, many in the tech world called for his removal from the company boards and other high-level positions. But instead of heeding the call, the many pals of the billionaire investor made the institutional choice to stick by him as he sticks by Trump. Okay. Who cares? Thanks, though. Thanks, Neil. Wow. I didn't see a look on Hillary's face when Trump commented about Hillary pretending to like Catholics. I'm not really into the religion game. I know that a lot of people use religion in this event, but the core religious groups in this country are drifting away from Donald Trump simply because they know that he's pro-choice, even though he says he's pro-life. And he doesn't have a first trimester abortion law like I'm proposing, which appeals to social conservatives because they know that they don't want to kill the little baby fetus past the age of 15 weeks. I'm at least finding a compromise ground that we can work with, and I'm the only person in America supporting that. The only person. Wow. First trimester law. And then this funny one. Yeah, like the Muppets dancing in the kitchen. That could be Dave in his kitchen hour. So I've learned to slam a lot of these dinners together, and I got a lot of criticism last week for producing a shrimp dish that had cooked the shrimp for 10 minutes. And I got to tell you that it wasn't cooked. I turned all the burners off. I reviewed the videotape, and I actually put the shrimp, which are already pre-cooked in a package, right into the meal and added that shrimp taste, that flavor, giving the final mile of flavor to every single piece of al dente bow tie ronzoni non-GMO pasta. And I think it's one hell of a meal. I just finished it. It's like, whoa. And then I added a can of smoked clams from the dollar store. It's very good. I'm impressed. Yeah, and tonight's was $3 for feeding 4 people. You can't beat it. I should do that for our show sometime. David, if you receive $1 million overnight, would you do anything different in life? Well, number one, I can't receive $1 million. I can only receive $5,000 maximum donations. So that can't happen. All right? But the answer is, if the donations came into my party, I wouldn't use that money for myself. Are you saying if I just automatically won the lotto? Is that what you're saying? Oh, okay. Well, if I played the lotto, yeah, I would. My life would change. It would. I think I would probably helicopter myself out of this location I'm at and land somewhere on the beautiful ocean up and down the West Coast and begin building my radiation-proof survival bell to handle the tsunami that's coming. Yeah, that's probably what I would do with $1 million, just to create the ultimate tsunami survival center and deradiation chamber. No, we're all screwed. It doesn't matter how much money you have. We really are at a precipice of some global event, whether it's contrived or created by some secret society, which is possible. Last night we featured the Queen Elizabeth story, which was kind of disturbing. I played it. I'm going to play it for you because it's appropriate we talk about the anti-war rally and Queen Elizabeth. YourNewsWire.com has this story, and it's basically a discussion of Queen Elizabeth's warnings for all of us. Now, you know she's extremely powerful. She has probably $25 trillion in assets. Queen Elizabeth has been meeting with religious leaders to discuss an imminent global war that she claims will bring about the end of times for humanity. She has 25 trillion in assets, Randy. I'm not retarded. I've done the math, okay? Yeah. The Rothschilds have 200 trillion combined in assets. Just trace the money back, Randy. It'll take you about 5 seconds to realize how rich these people are. I can't cover your traveling expenses, psycho behavior. I told you this is a volunteerism, the whole thing. We don't have a penny to give you. Sorry. We didn't sign a contract to have you go around supporting us. I'm sorry that your life is taking you on a travel trip. Just get back on the bus and keep riding, man, until you find a beautiful person to be with. Hopefully a woman. Dude, what was your SAT score for math? It's like really high, dude. It's like up there, man. Yeah. You know, the gold carriage that Queen Elizabeth has is absolutely beautiful. Yeah, that's how you sound, Randy. That's exactly how you sound to me. Here is the gold carriage of the Queen. Look at the value of this amazing, beautiful edifice of her wealth. And then we'll get back to how doomsday is coming for you. Oh my goodness, look at this. Oh yeah, that's not worth much money there, Randy. Yeah. That's pretty. Yeah. Yeah, that kind of gold it comes by cheap. Yeah, you know, you're looking at least probably $2 billion right there, dude. It's all gold. Yeah. You really are completely detached from the reality of your place, your station in life, aren't you? Well, the Queen knows best, and she says the warning of a holy war to end all wars coming. There is a lovely house right now on realestate.com. Just needs a little cleanup, but granted, it did belong to a hoarder at one time, but it's got one heck of a supply of light beer boxes and cans. This beautiful gem of a property, this 3-bedroom house, in North Texas is listed as is on the website. It looks unremarkable in the exterior photos and descriptive write-up. This traditional 3-bedroom house in Sanger, about 40 miles north of Dallas, is priced at $89,900. Now that's nice. Let's take a look at some of the other rooms. Oh, look at the light beer cans. Yeah. You know, on the outside it's not bad for $89,000. I mean, all you got to do is pick up some cans and clean the wall. I mean, it's a pretty decent place. Look at that. I'm so glad I don't drink. At a meeting with Russia's Patriarch Kirill and the Archbishop of Canterbury, the Queen said, "One must now make the necessary preparations to say goodbye to loved ones, as one cannot assume who will live and who will die. Many will die in these final days, according to BBC production staff. My beloved country is about to enter its darkest period in the coming months as a brutal and apocalyptic war will be waged in the East. I am not concerned with the trivialities of Christmas. I am concerned with the terrible consequences we must face as the war drums beat ever stronger. They call on all countries to unite behind the fight to defeat evil. Okay, and she's not evil? Okay. Wow, must be nice to be perfect. All right, so are they going to predict the conflict of war around the world? Because they seem to be in the know. I mean, let's face it, she is hot. For a woman, what, 90? How old is she? Does anybody know? Please. Certainly. I'm looking a little pink tonight. You notice how pink I look? I'm not a pinko, I'll have you know. Yes, my white balance seems to be slightly off. Yeah, the Cubs made it to the World Series, Beekman. That's right. You betcha. Now I kind of look like Donald Trump. I'll do this Donald Trump look. This is how I'll create the fake tan, because I don't want to spray tan my face. But this is about as tan as Donald Trump is. When I do the Donald Rump extravaganza. Oh, that's slightly better, actually. That looks more natural, yeah. Kick up the light a little bit. There we go. Okay, thank you. She is 90. Oh, thank you, Sissified. Oh, it's so nice to have you here to check and fact-check these every single time I ask the question. Thank you so much. You could become the royal staffing of internet checking. No, actually, Scissorfight has been amazing. He worked as a mod the other night, doing some pretty good work. I'll tell you, he's the only person we've even thought of as a mod for our show, simply because he seems to be aligned with us politically. A lot of you are, I know, but he seems to have a steady hand. We don't give out mods normally. World's biggest solar plant might be built in Nevada. It's supposed to power 1 million homes, or as much as the Hoover Dam. Wow. You know, that's interesting because they lost that solar concentrator place in Nevada. Now they're thinking of another solar plant. Look at this. You know that the solar concentrator blew up, right? So now, of course, why not make more of them? Yeah, one blows up, let's make 6 or 7. There you go. A farm of solar concentrator plants that could easily start fires. And they're using the worst possible technology for storing electricity, too. Lithium ions. Another big mistake going on in the renewable tech sector. Another reason why they need me to lead this nation. I believe we can do better. I believe we can get away from these dangerous, volatile lithium ion packs like the ones that are blowing up in the Samsung Note 7. They've canceled the Note 7 now because even the replacement pack blows up. You know, I just think Prince Charles is probably not interested in the kingdom, and I think William is being groomed. But why are we talking about the kingdom and Elizabeth, whose prognosis of the world is a holy war? I mean, could we be a little bit more positive tonight? Thank you. Okay, now we're going to let in the haters. Here we go. Dun, 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 letting the haters into the show. Well, I thought it would be interesting to talk about the Queen, but really, there's not much to say. I was on... Prince William actually signed my MySpace account, actually joined it. We're fairly sure that they actually joined me in 2008 on MySpace. We still have a MySpace account, believe it or not. Now, hopefully all these trolls left and they won't know we're here. You see, they only come in here when they're told to by one monitor, who then posts it on 4chan that we're up. Oh, Randy, please. Thank you. Just shut your mouth, Randy, okay? Unless you can come up with something positive, we're going to have to terminate you from the show. You seem to be the same person who came in earlier. It seems like when we kicked that last person out, you pop in, Randy. No, it wasn't funny. Hardly. I could have funny stuff here. We could talk about Barack Obama. We could talk about the laser defense system we'd like to install to defend our nation. You see, I believe in... That's okay. I believe in the same concept that Ronald Reagan came up with. So I'm going to pretend like I'm Ronald Reagan. I believe in the Star Wars defense system, the Strategic Defense Initiative, a plan to make our nation safer with more cutting-edge technology. Now, in about 10 years, we're going to have cybernetics everywhere. Robo-cops will be at your front door. And I think that every one of those Robo-cops should be friendly and have a jelly bean jar to hand every one of you jelly beans, if you need it. And of course, if you have to have a vegetable, we'll offer ketchup packets. Because ketchup is a vegetable. Oh, come on. Give me a break. I wish you could even think about Ronald Reagan. Of course I'm not Ronald Reagan. My IQ towers above him. Ronald Reagan was sporting about 115 IQ there, Chipper. Donald Trump is about around maybe 100. Maybe around George W. Bush's IQ. No, actually, George W. Bush had 130 IQ. People died fighting for democracy. Laura and I never died. Rudy Giuliani can't keep his hands to himself. Check this out.
Rudy Giuliani here, of course, who has been an advisor working for Donald Trump here, and Mark Cuban, supporter for Hillary Clinton. You can't win if people don't believe you're going to have the fitness. And,
sure, of course.
So the most recent poll, Washington Post, ABC, 62% of Americans say Trump does not have the fitness to be president.
What he's going to have to do is demonstrate that he's fit to be president, and that because of the FBI finding her extremely careless in the use of national security information.
No, that's not what he said. He said what the group was careless and how they handled the server.
He said she was extremely careless. He also went on to point out in the 302, you'll note, she was asked, did she know what the designation C meant?
Right.
She said she didn't.
And then when
Let me finish. I know men.
Oh, he's holding on now. Look at this.
I know men who.
No wonder they're friends.
Act inappropriate in the way in which they touch or handle women. I don't like it.
You can do anything.
But Donald Trump is not one of them. He's always been a gentleman with women.
Oh my goodness.
I know men who are touchy, feely, but I don't like it. 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 Touchy, feely. I don't like it.
Wow. This is hilarious.
Hey, this is Vic Berger. I hope you enjoyed that. Why don't you subscribe to Super Deluxe while you're right here? Go ahead.
Thank you, Vic. Vic Berger, everybody. Yeah, that's cool, man. All right. It's enough fun for tonight. Let's get down to the business of stopping war, shall we? She's very unconfadable. Unconfadable? That was hilarious, is her fight. Wow. So they are kind of brothers in arms in a way, and brothers in touching arms, I should say. Yeah, Trump and Giuliani, his best man. You got to wonder, Giuliani said that Trump does not believe that Obama was born outside of the country. He believes he was born in the United States. That's what Giuliani has said. And Trump is afraid to say that he is, and I've said this earlier, that he is, in fact, that Obama is, in fact, born in the United States, according to him. Now, I believe Obama was born in Kenya. And I'm not the only person. Studies and polls show that nearly 30% of the population still believes that Obama was born in Kenya. Well, I found out a loophole that we could actually exploit that kind of forces Barack Obama into that category of having to be removed from the history of presidents. And once I fulfill my goal, which is to convince the world that Obama is the Antichrist, I'm sorry, did I say that? Thank you. But the gospel, according to Barack Obama, was spoken by his none other than transgender lover, Michelle.
Surrounding HIV testing, which is still
plaguing so many of our communities, which you all know, a lot of that is due to homophobia. Barack has led by example. When we took our trip to Africa and visited his home country in Kenya, Africa and visited his home country in Kenya, we took a public HIV test for.
Well, what was the result? Okay, but you went to your home country in Kenya. Obama was born in Kenya. Obama is married to a transgender. Now, I'm not going to shock you here. I'm going to rock you to the floor, right to the ground that you walk on. I'm going to play you a couple clips that'll freak you out. But I believe that prosecuting Barack Obama is the only pathway to nullifying Obamacare. Trump doesn't have a method.
Another guy said, but I tell you what, you won't see me moving to no African jungle anytime soon. Or some goddamn desert somewhere sitting on a carpet with a bunch of Arabs. No, sir. And you won't see me stop eating no ribs either. Gotta have them ribs. And pussy too. Don't Malcolm talk about no pussy? Now you know that ain't gonna work.
And do you think that the country will see the United States will see the first gay president or the first woman president?
We already have it with Obama, so let's just calm down.
Got it.
You know Michelle is a
I'm sorry, she's a what?
A transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Needless to say, I think the jig is up for the two of them, yeah. I mean, and then recently it became obvious that Obama was flirting with a reporter on board Air Force One in 2008 and had a full erection. So I believe that Barack Obama is a bisexual, married to a tranny, and I believe he's a Muslim. So if you want to disagree with me on all three of those points, that's fine. But we're only going to sue him when I become president on the fact that he has committed fraud. And we will prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. And this is extremely important. I talk about this because Sarah's coming in and she doesn't believe that all of this is true. So I want you to know that when I get elected, that's my priority. Now, if I get taken out of the equation for some reason, then we won't pursue that track. Sarah is a different type of person. She's never said anything bad about Barack Obama, other than she disagreed with him on the 2010 decision to remove the tax breaks for the rich. Or, excuse me, put the tax breaks back for the rich. Thank you. Because many people don't understand why Barack Obama did that. So, but basically, Sarah has never said anything negative about Barack Obama. And she's on record with a cleaner background than I do, or I have, in terms of the views of politically correct people. I'm much more politically direct, and I'm not apologizing for it because we're proud to be different. Everybody has freedom of speech in this country. And that's what I truly believe in. What this country is predicated on. Thanks, Matt. I'm just here to bring you the right solutions at the right time by an American, an average American. And that's what we're delivering. Getting rid of Obamacare is the only way it can be done is through removing Barack Obama's signature from the document. And that only buys us 6 weeks before Congress reissues it and forces me to either veto it or sign it into law. And I won't sign it into law.
I didn't say I like Obama, no. I've never said that. Just because I don't say negative things about people doesn't mean I like them.
She doesn't necessarily like them, but she doesn't say negative things about anybody. Sarah is incredibly diplomatic. And she's an outstanding vice presidential choice because she has an amazing ability to negotiate common sense solutions. So that's something that I really, really think is fantastic in her position. But we're very different. Sarah and I have different perceptions of the world, and I'm not apologizing or complaining. I just think it's great that we are different in that respect, but we do agree on our platform at AmericasThirdParty.com. And that's not something we're in disagreement on. We're totally in agreement on everything we want on our platform. So you want to play the sassy Trump sarcastic? You know, that might be good for a little later, but I don't think it's necessarily, something we want to play right now. All right.
Okay. You can just go back to the chat.
I was looking for it.
Okay.
All right, thank you. And you can go guest off. You guess, you're on warning. We will shut guest off. All she has to do is hit the enter button. If you continue to be nice, you're going to be allowed to continue chatting in here. Thank you. All right, take care.
Our Constitution is just fine the way it is. It's really good. Yeah, David takes a little break. That's all. 448. 2 30-minute breaks is what I give David. Sometimes they're a little bit longer. Sometimes they're a little bit shorter. But he takes an hour off of the show, 30 minutes at a time. So, hello, Jackson. How are you? None of the above, because none of the above are needed for someone like David. He's a fantastic performer, as is. He's just a great person, totally honest, loves life, loves America. Yeah, I've heard that for many people, Obamacare has been a nightmare for them. You're in love with David? I feel for you. Alright, hello, KGHK. I'm not flirting with you, but you should tell your girlfriend about me and about David. Well, things start as an experiment. Even models start out as an experiment. I don't think that's necessarily the point of our Constitution, 399. I think the point of our Constitution is it's not about taking over other places in the world. There definitely is room in our Constitution to bring in other states if they so choose. He's the hard worker. He doesn't get paid for all the work that he does. I'll press 3 for a third party choice. Yeah, healthcare still isn't affordable and you still can't be insured. Have they tried docking your taxes yet, 811? And Planet X feels like a W-2 is slave documentation because you're become a slave to the earning the wage. Portable smartphone laboratory can detect cancer with 99% accuracy. Wow, I wonder if I trust this CME science. But that's pretty cool if it's true. As opposition, David's doing great. He's a nail in the side of the political system. I never changed David in any way, 892. David was the way he was when I met him. I don't know why they would be following David. There are no ties. So he's constantly showing people an alternative, Mute Mo. I don't think so, 950, because only they would dock his taxes, but since he's not paying, then I guess not. You've never seen a third party with a Death Star, just a republic with a Death Star? Yeah, I would believe. Yeah, I know Star Wars, it does make sense. I do believe that a lot of the people voted for Obamacare without reading it. I tried reading it and then they changed it a little bit, but I was reading the version before they voted on it. You can go back in the record possibly and see it. I know I was doing it in the old Block TV days. 399 says, I can't get a grasp of your healthcare system. He thinks it should be free for all. I know in other countries it is free for all, and or it's paid through taxation, and here it's a huge costs. No, so Clayton Rouche says, so Obamacare is not an improvement. I thought it would help tons of poor people rejoin the workforce and get needed medical attention they previously couldn't afford. Everyone can get needed medical attention, and so they can go to a hospital, but then once they will treat them even if they don't have coverage. At least to a certain degree, they'll treat them, and then they'll send them this huge medical bill, thousands of dollars in medical costs that they have to pay. And the thing is that, so in the olden days, a very long time ago, there used to be like a country doctor, and this is like the 1800s. There used to be a country doctor, and he would just get paid. People would give the country doctor, chickens or food or sometimes money to take care of the people that they had. Then World War II happened, and there was a huge spike in medical costs because, anyway, there was a spike in medical costs, and even after World War II, there was a spike in medical costs, and then businesses couldn't find workers because so many people, I guess, were for the war effort. This is kind of what I've heard. And that then certain companies would start paying for medical insurance. And insurance is the idea that if, kind of like fire insurance or house insurance, everybody pays a little bit into the pot, and then out of that pot is paid off. Like for fire insurance, if one person gets a fire, then they cover the costs for the fire. Well, the businesses started paying some people's medical costs to attract workers, and that's pretty much been how it has worked in the United States since then. And Clayton says Canada taxes our businesses less than the U.S. and they offer healthcare, but they also have a much lower population than the United States. So anyway, there's now the costs for, so businesses have been paying for healthcare for their workers, and their premiums have gone up. So it's definitely difficult. Well, Boom Boom, you say they have longer wait times in Canada, and the Canadians can speak to that. But I will tell you this one thing I've heard from Canadians. Canadians, due to the wait time, they will pay for their Canadians to come over in the U.S. and get services. Yeah, pretty much, Mutemo. Insurance is the legal gambling of banks. Ontario, Canada is way better than British Columbia. Maybe because there's so much trade in British Columbia. Oh, and it all depends on the lines. Or there's so many people in British Columbia. So it could be a waiting time. It depends on where you live. Yes, there are some Canadians that go to the U.S. for some care. And then their care costs are covered by Canada. And in Canada, everyone still has a monthly obligation of $100. So you kind of pay into an insurance thing? Yeah, it's not free. Oh, it depends on how much you make. So if you're poor, so it's taken out of your income, basically. So people who make more money get more money deducted? Wow. When you go to a doctor, basically what you're saying, Clayton, to be specific, is when you go to a doctor, you don't receive a bill for services. However, when people say that everyone pays, someone is paying, they're saying that, you know, your government is paying, or or you're paying via the $100 a month or something like that. Yeah. There's a Medicare levy in Australia, and that's how they pay. You don't pay through taxes or even the $100. Hello, Garage Walker. I vaguely remember seeing you before. Governments do have money. Blind Faith, where do you think your taxes go? There are many USA insurance companies abroad, probably because they pay less than taxes overseas. Oh, you've never heard of the $100 fee a month? Okay. Oh, read it again. Governments can't pay. They don't have their own money. Oh, you're saying because you believe that money comes from taxes, so that tax comes from people? Well, really, and the money actually originates from the Federal Reserve, which originates out of thin air. So you don't actually have money either. Most of our money, actually, 811 goes back to paying off the interest on our federal debts. I read a lot with this big brain of mine. Well, that's fine, Garage Walker. I don't mind saying I have a big brain or something like that. I like being a cerebral person. I like thinking.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I like the reality of, you know, knowing that nobody at Battle Cam is actually chatting with us. So.
I know.
And I don't think anybody at iBlog is. So let's drop off iBlog, if you don't mind. I think we're wasting our bandwidth, you know, our upload speeds. I mean, I don't know. Is iBlog even a network anymore? Does anybody go there?
Well, see, people do go to places like YouTube and sometimes iBlog. But then it's like you don't chat there, so then they are.
I don't believe they're chatting at all. No. Let's just drop off iBlogger. You know, we gave you now all of 8 days of time, and we've given iBlog 30 days of time, and it has produced next to nothing.
Okay.
So let's just drop off iBlog. I'd rather go on you now, frankly.
Well, you can do all of that.
I'll do that separately, yeah. Okay, I don't pay this mythical $100 a month fee, you say, Clayton? No, I don't pay a fee either. Well, $11,000 per year per family in Canada is about what Americans are paying with full insurance policies. No, Randy, I can't. Randy, I'm beginning to believe that Randy's not a legitimate person in the show. Have you noticed that? It's my take.
Yeah, you're probably right.
No, you seem like a troll, Randy. We have a very high caliber to allow you into the show, and you may not cut the mustard. Raj Walker wants to know how Sarah's giving to society with her gift. You mean the gift of knowledge?
Of knowledge, yes.
Oh, we're all very helpful, and Sarah's helping children, and yeah. Hugh needs to be banned. That's a bannable offense. Thank you for giving links, Randy.
Take a shower, 164.
Take a shower, apply some Vaseline.
Or a Preparation H.
Or I don't know, there's got to be something else, just
avocado.
Stick an avocado between your butt cheeks.
A&D ointment.
Yeah, A&D ointment. Something like that. Just, you got a problem with itching? I don't know what to say.
Okay.
Welcome to the anti-war rally, everybody. I'm David Sponheim, and I'm fighting to stop the wars over in Syria.
I'm educating people. How about that, Garage Walker?
By sleeping through this entire show, I am stopping war.
I did almost sleep through one of the shows one time.
You should.
People said, "What was this, Sarah?" Because I was answering questions. I literally
Really?
was so tired.
She was.
I was so tired. And then I just fell asleep.
When's the show start? Exactly. I mean, I basically decided that if we weren't able to actually stop war, we could at least not start a war. So I have not started a war since we started the anti-war rally. And I'm very proud of that.
Yay.
Not started
I've only started wars with David because he's created the anti-war rally. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, really.
He's like, I'm like, we used to go out on Saturday.
We aren't allowed to go out anymore. No, we used to have
not until the election's over.
We had a lot of fun at one time, and now we have to bring the dance to you. And we've done a lot with the dancing efforts, but there's some good stuff behind here. I want to bring you out to the future. Sarah, you're the one that has openly stated that your border fence idea is going to be lethal electric, and I agree, it should be. And if you want to talk about national security as it relates to our posture and defense around the world, let's talk about the border fence, because I think that having a strong defensive border is one of the best ways to stop wars. One of the best ways for our country not to break down internally.
Well, I think that one of the ways to stop wars overseas, because there's not really wars going on here, so I think that's fantastic. But there's a lot of wars going on overseas, and I would say the way to stop those is having the U.S. not send, give, or sell weapons overseas.
Well, that would.
If the U.S.
Wait
did
a second. But you realize that's one of our largest industries is our weapons sales. That's one of the reasons why our economy is still trickling along.
Well, and that's why they say that war is good for the economy.
Well, there's got to be something to the fact that every single nation in the nation-state model needs to buy weapons to defend themselves, and they buy it from us. When you think about it, we're promoting peace by promoting mutually assured destruction, right? Think about it. We are, I'm pro robotics. I'm pro cybernetics. I want to move toward maintaining our existing personnel of 2 million people in our volunteer Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, National Guard, Coast Guard. But I also believe that we should experience unmanned soldiers in the field so that we could actually use them and deploy them in the event we are attacked. So in dealing with that, I'm embracing robotics. But I'm also thinking about the world economy when I think about, this is actually helping the world economy by everybody building up a defensive barrier to each other. So ironically, the New World Order would actually destroy the weapons industry. Think about it, which is one of our strongest industries. Now, I'm not trying to kiss Lockheed Martin's ass or anything, but I mean, if they're watching, I'm not going to cut you in every area. Obviously, we're going to get rid of the F-35. An absolutely deplorable plane that has been useless in almost every field of war tested. But we will look at the possibility of using the F-35 as a bomber, a modern-day bomber, because we don't really have a new bomber. Yeah, so you're in the point where you haven't put your avocado where you should have and rotated it. So think about it. Think about where that avocado could go. So we will play you a series, a good 30 minutes tonight on the F-35, and we'll start with the F-35 commercial from Lockheed.
Attacks targeting Iraqi security.
And we'll bring you the entire pros and cons about the F-35, which if we cut a lot of the budget for that, will save us a lot of money on our national debt and our ongoing debt crisis. So drones are on the table. Let's talk about those. Maintaining strong defense in lieu of all of our different options. Sending men off to war would be the very last thing we would ever do, and only if we were attacked. But the X-47B, Northrop Grumman, is an unmanned bomber, which poses some amazing possibilities. Here it is, taking off. So turning the F-35 into something as powerful as the X-47B would actually be more cost efficient than actually making more X-47Bs, which, by the way, Northrop charged $1 billion to create this. Yeah. All right, well then rinse it off. Even Hillary birthday party is a fundraiser. Check this out. The money whore known as Hillary Clinton is absolutely just the biggest fundraiser, and it's pretty obvious this pay-for-play, which I think is a violation of racketeering charges. It's fraudulent in many ways because it's simply siphoning money into their pockets with speech fees. Here's the X-47B in process. So we can do better with a cheaper unmanned defense system. That's my opinion. And Predators shouldn't cost $10 million. They should be more like under $1 million. And Raytheon's been making a lot of money doing that. Okay, here it is, taking off. Roger Tlenier. What's your ETA? I'm doing coffee over at the coffee shop at Starbucks, and then I'm going to go over and hang out with some people. Look at that beauty. Beautiful aircraft that they created, Northrop. So this is America's best and brightest working hard to create a deployable device that will actually deliver bombs to an enemy which may attack us. And coming in for the landing. Fantastic, Mr. Trump. Whoa. All unmanned. Isn't that exciting? Yeah, so I just wanted to give you a little taste of the reality that I do embrace robotics and the future of unmanned aerial and land-based vehicles, as well as having an unmanned force that can actually defend against as a first layer of defense for our nation. I don't flatten out a toupee. This is my real hair, and when it reacts to shampoo, it styles itself. Oh, interesting. I touched myself. That's interesting. Is it possible for a cybernetic organism to receive pleasure? Like humans? Let's not ask that question. No, I'm not albino. Yeah, I know. You got a little excited by the sheer force of our unmanned aerial vehicle. But the best part about the lethal electric fence is we're going to be using some existing fencing material that we currently have in our FEMA camps. Now, if I don't become president, you will end up becoming a victim of what is called the culling, the mass culling. And if you can't get me elected, which is, every man's effort to talk about me is a big step in the right direction. But if I don't get elected, let's put it that way, and if I'm responsible for that too, you'll be looking at 804 FEMA camps conveniently arranged around the country, providing what appears to be a network of concentration camps, all of which have the potential of becoming your worst nightmare. I have the 1,000-mile fence idea. I've had it since 2008. Trump stole it from me. So I'm the originator. Don't even get your... And by the way, you're going to want to embrace the idea, because Trump, there's a very good likelihood he's not going to win this election. And voila, the originator of the idea continues on in 2020. Hello, Trump supporters, wake up. He's already practically conceded to Hillary. Yes, I am running for 20. Of course I'm running for 2020. Hello. Okay, so if I don't win in 2016, Hillary will try to put together numerous potential problems: forced vaccinations, herd inoculations. They'll claim there's an outbreak of some disease somewhere like Ebola. And then they'll force people to either get vaccinated or they get chipped. And you'll be facing a robotic, cybernetic, RoboCop type environment in about 4 to 5 years. So that's a possibility that could very well kick into gear. I will, of course, disarm that, make it completely neutral when indeed I become president. But yeah, we're doing everything we can to stop this. So this incredible plan to put people in concentration camps is exactly what the elitists tried to put together in Germany when they implemented what Hitler called the final solution. And they're doing that right now in America. They're slowly... The Agenda 21 is a UN directive, an attempt to assimilate our nation. And they've co-opted their efforts with FEMA and the U.S. Army to write civilian detention plans for the United States citizens. And I gladly bring this to your attention in specific form by giving you a link to a document, which is a U.S. Army document, which you can read and find out the future of you in the concentration camps. So at least they're very kind to give you that information up front. It's a directive. And there's a lot of things they've got going on. Department of Defense has directives all over the place, but the internment and resettlement operations is a public intelligence document, and you're welcome to grab it from publicintelligence.net. And it is quite disturbing. Yeah. There it is right there. So when they plan on sticking you in a FEMA camp, which is their plan, the New World Order agenda is to depopulate the Earth significantly by 90%. So it involves extermination of the population. Here is the link, and here is the plan, and it's pretty interesting the way they've set it all up. They've got these detention centers so that they can keep people inside. Detainees, civilian internees, this would apply to you. Anyone, even if you've got money, it wouldn't matter. They're just going to try to get rid of people. That's what you've got laid out in front of you if you live long enough to see it. Hitler's secret Nazi base discovered in the Arctic by scientists. Yeah. Let's go on a diversion to Hitler's plan of creating a secret base right now, while we're talking about places you'll be executed and exterminated at. Okay. So you want to divert to Hitler's secret base in Antarctica. Right. Okay. So why don't you want to talk about this? Yeah. So basically, we're screwed if we don't step up and get this political movement going right now. Right here, right now. Yes, Seattle has Fort Lewis, which is a FEMA camp facility. It can warehouse up to 3 to 5 million people in tight quarters. Yeah, they've got it all planned out. They've got all the different sets of Marine headquarters, battalions are all ready to go. UN troops can be rolled in. What happened in 2015 with Jade Helm was them telling you what's coming. What is imminent? And Jade Helm is definitely a problem. You see, Jade Helm was put together by a computer program, an artificial computer program called Jade 2.0. And the Jade Helm plan is designed to build out a series of ordnance, munitions, and logistics. Ordnance, munitions, and logistics. And at the very center of the Jade Helm logo, you'll notice the shoe used by Adolf Hitler. And that's a wooden shoe used by Adolf Hitler during the Nazi period to describe the concentration camps like Dachau, Treblinka, and Auschwitz. You see, the Nazis never gave up. They have a plan, and they put this plan together in the 30s, well before us taking over Germany. And they seated themselves within the very core of our government. No, it's happening right now. The very same people that got Adolf there, guest 897, the very same people that got there, Adolf there, are behind the same plan. They're still doing it. If you can't see that, you're blind. Will we be building that wall around Oregon? I don't think so. My link does not work. It should work perfectly. Let me test it. Try it on Firefox. It's working perfectly for me, man. Yes. Thank you. And there you go. Beekman showed the beautiful little wooden shoes that were so famously notified. These happen to be Dutch shoes, but there you have it. And this was very common in Hitler's concentration camp. So that's why Jade Helm Mastering the Human Domain was the actual logo for the U.S. Army. You see, folks, they're doing it right to your face. They're actually laughing at the fact that you can't assemble a political movement to stop them. While they bought off the Democratic Republican Party because the people are running there are really, really greedy, they don't think for a second this third party can pull it off and a write-in campaign can topple the two parties. They don't believe it. And we saw in 2012 the Americans Elect organization put together a ballot access initiative. It turns out the Rothschilds were behind that entire event. And I found out about it when I came in and talked to another person running for president. And he told me about it. And the plan that the Rothschilds have had is how well they could control the ballot access system. Americans Elect never put a single person on the ballot, even though they tried to get on at least 30 states they got on the ballot. And Americans Elect in 2012 never, ever wanted to make any president out there a third-party candidate. They were just testing the waters, how it was possible. It was like an experiment, a laboratory experiment on the election process. With $40 million, you can get somebody on the ballot in 30 states. They've proven that. We haven't had more than a few $1,000s in funding over the past 8 years. So it was impossible for us to pay people for a signature. Well, we even offered signatures in Iowa, and nobody took us up on it. We were offering people $1 per signature just to get me on the ballot in Iowa, and nobody took us up on it. So they know that they've neutralized our entire system, but they haven't neutralized the write-in candidacy. Now, this is the last-ditch effort our government and our ancestors put together in our Constitution. And the write-in provision in our Constitution and in our election law federally gives you, as a voter, a chance to stop this. You can stop this tyranny of the two-party system. Your vote can mean something. It won't get just digested by the Diebold voting system, which is completely riggable, by the way. My pretend agenda after I lose has never been different than my existing agenda, which is not pretend. It's to continue running until I win. I don't give up, and I've always won. So it's just a question of time and patience. It's like a huge obstacle that you just can't possibly, it's daunting. But once you get your hands dirty and start chipping away, you eventually get through it. And that's what we're doing. And every day we show you the diligence and commitment a third party can make. And my presence here on the internet communicating with you is something no other presidential candidate has ever done. So it puts me kind of light years ahead of everybody in the competitive field. Gary Johnson is a shill who's put into the race to pretend like he was a third party candidate. Okay.
How are you? Hi.
How are you?
Okay, we're going to 42. Yeah, we saw this.
Jeez, your girl's hot as shit. In the purple.
I can do anything. Let's go. Make me a soap star.
How about a little hug for the darling? Just got off the bus.
Okay, absolutely. Melania said this was okay.
I just got off the bus.
Oh, Melania said this was okay.
Excellent. Well, you've got a nice co-star here.
Good.
Yes.
Wow! That's how Terry Tate makes America great, baby! You can't go around grabbing people willy-nilly, son! That's just crazy. What kind of locker rooms you been hanging out in, Donnie? Huh? Hey, Willie Bush. You're fired.
That was pretty good.
Doing very well.
Make me a soap star.
How about a little
Okay, absolutely.
just got off the bus.
Push it.
There we go. Excellent. Well, you've got a nice co-star here.
Good.
Yes.
Wow! That's a...
Man, that was well done. All right. How did they do that? Does anybody know? First Russia, now China warns its citizens of an impending doom. Prepare for war. The world is ready for World War III.
Let's begin with our chief national security correspondent, Jim Sciutto. He's in Manila right now in the Philippines. He has an exclusive report on that confrontation between the Chinese military and a U.S. spy plane. Jim, tell our...
Okay, we got a CNN update tonight on a U.S. spy plane and China. That's coming up. The beginning of the end for a lot of you. You don't realize it, but you're sitting on the fence has cost you your future. We're going to go ahead and do clear chat. Let me get that link from Chat Room Celebrity. Thank you. And I'm going to ask all guests to stick your head up your ass and flush it down the toilet. Not in that order. All right? Thank you. You can flush your head down the toilet, then stick it up your ass, whichever you prefer.
The USS Eisenhower.
Tweety Trump. We already played Sassy Trump.
Powerful warships in the world.
Thank you.
A sea-going air base, packing more power than the militaries of many countries.
And inside a supercarrier, a 40-minute video. Wow, this looks good. So we're going to be kind of nesting on the idea of more advanced technology defending our nation, but our nation not being controlled by the powerful Rothschilds, and how they've gloomed the Clintons for the presidency for years. Some people even believe Bill may be the illegitimate son of Jacob Rothschild. And we got a 5-minute video on that. Months before she launched the candidacy, they've been grooming her. So they've got a lot invested. The Rothschilds have put a lot of money into the Hillary campaign through various source-funded areas. And the pay-for-play thing is really just a cover for a conduit for the Rothschilds trying to buy the Clinton administration, which they did already under Bill, so they're going to try to secure it for another 4 more years. But they've been controlling Barack Obama for 8 years and George W. Bush. So these are the people that own our country. And they put together a plan for Jade 2.0 to determine how to effectively prepare for a future that they could control. And they want to control the environment. I told you earlier about chemtrails and how they're doing weather modification on the California, what is now a desert in Los Angeles. How they're creating and grooming the landscape for a desert. They're trying to disable our strongest state, California, weaken our country, force immigration upon our nation, weakening our education and our medical systems, drain all of us of our capital, basically turn us into paupers, and they're doing a pretty damn good job of doing it. I mean, you look around, are you going to be in your house next year? Are you going to be able to afford your house payments, or are you going to be on the road, barely able to make it? So as they continue to push their goal of doubling and tripling the homeless population and basically bankrupting the average American person, their goal has always been one thing, the Rothschilds: total, absolute power. Greed happens to be on that ledge with power. And they use their greed, and the greed just gets worse and worse because they want more and more power. And power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And we've got an absolute situation on our hands where they put together a computer program, Jade 2.0, and said, what would happen if the Earth continued to produce people without cleaning the environment, without cleaning the air, without cleaning the water? what would happen? And the computer said, we need to eliminate 90% of the human population. It is imperative. Otherwise, our entire world will be ultimately destroyed. And that response was all they needed. And then they said, how are we going to eliminate 90% of the population? Let's put Hillary in charge. Let's make her into let's clone her. Yeah, let's clone Hillary. Yeah, let's do that. So now there's a very good chance, and if you haven't seen this video, I'm going to show it to you, that Hillary has a clone. And I'm not making this up. This is a lot of credible evidence to make this possible. When Hillary had the major pneumonia problem recently, on 9/11, September 11th, she was immediately taken to a place, Chelsea's apartment. Well, it turns out that Chelsea's apartment really is a medical facility. And then she popped right out 90 minutes later, mind you, after being carted into a van. Yeah. Here she is at the 9/11 ceremony, being carted into a van. Watch this. Wow. Okay. So here you go. And then we took a look at 90 minutes later, she pops out of Hillary's apartment looking at least 30 pounds thinner. And let me show you the picture here, because this is a really alarming little bit of information. I had discovered this just from watching it. Somebody created this video, it wasn't me, showing the Hillary that popped out that day from Chelsea's apartment and analyzing her hand. And then they ran that against the Hillary that was campaigning on the campaign trail in Ohio. All right, so let's just zoom in on this. We're going to take both pictures. This is here in Ohio. Yeah. This picture is of a seemingly different hand because of obviously the scar, but her hand's smaller and less wrinkled. And there were some other issues too about her face that I could bring up. Her nose is different. A lot of things. We could show you specifics. But you take both of those hands and put them together, and you zoom in on them, close up. I mean, really close up. Excuse me, Hillary. I have to stop this video. There we go. Then we look at the hand difference in size is significant. The person who was standing out there 90 minutes later, thank you, Scissor Fight. The person that was standing out there 90 minutes later was a slightly different looking nose too. Here are the two pictures before and after. Before, when she went to 9/11, this is a picture that was taken to the 9/11 commencement ceremonies. And then this is after. You can clearly see their body weight is different. But more importantly, there's something different in their nose too. You can see the nose on the Hillary on the left is curved a little bit and hooked, whereas the nose on the right is straight and not curved. This is a significant factor. Again, looking at the faces, the facial differences. Let's now look at the hand differences. So you may be voting for a person who's being cloned as well, which is even more nefarious, for them to clone and groom Hillary Clinton to be the Rothschild representative. This is absolutely an atrocity for our country to be controlled this way. But they've been doing it. Even Jimmy Carter said just recently that he believes this country is completely lost in terms of democracy and freedom. Jimmy Carter believes that, he said recently that this country is controlled oligarchy. And he's absolutely right. I've been saying it even since he was president. But you can see these obvious differences in the hands. Classic. But what really troubled me was the similarities in the lines. This line is identical to this line. This line looks like a carbon copy of the other. right here. This line is slightly less embedded in, but you can see the V pattern. The hands are almost identical. And the only logical conclusion anyone can come with, because everybody's hands palm print is completely different. We all have as much difference in our palm prints as we do in our fingerprints, but these are almost identical. That being the case, the only conclusion, and this is applying Occam's razor and a variety of other logical frameworks to determine answers to questions. The only answer to this question is she's a clone. The one that came out 90 minutes later. She was ready. She was brought out, ready to go. Yeah. And she even sounds like her. Because the real Hillary is suffering from Parkinson's. The real Hillary has got a serious head injury that she had and is barely functioning. So they have so much invested in this woman that they created a clone of her. Because they just simply want somebody they can control, biochip, and someone that they can continue doing their bidding so that they can control the future of this great nation. Now, if you're a person who believes in America like I do, was born and raised here, and love the simple truths about this country, that we are a nation of the brave and the free, and we hope to have achieved democracy, then you must be terribly let down right now. And I am very let down. I'm really very concerned. And what Jimmy Carter said about this being an oligarchy is absolutely right. The people that are running this country, the ones that don't care about borders, they don't care where they are, they have so much money they don't care. They're sovereign individuals. They are simply going to prop her up as long as she functions, and then they're going to replace her with a clone. That's their primary plan. That's what's coming. Now, I'm the real guy. No, they're awfully fast, these gnats. I can't get over how fast they are. Well, Clayton Roosh, they developed cloning technology 40 years ago. And they put it together. They've got technology that would blow your mind. It's 20, 30 years ahead of your mind in terms of technology. You see, there's two roads of technological development going on right now. There's the road that you see, that is pretty cool. We see all these tablets coming out and great abilities to communicate. And then there's the road that's much faster, and so fast that you're going to be blown away how fast robots can be created and produced. That we're growing exponentially in some areas. Now, that technology is hidden from the American people. We don't know much about it. You can call it Area 51 for all I care. And I've even signed on to the Full Disclosure Project. If I meet an alien physically, I will tell the American people that I met an alien. Even if it could jeopardize national security insofar as world security is concerned. Because if we don't recognize that there really is an alien out there, then we have a problem. We're not ready for an alien. But if they're trying to take us over from within, and I'm not saying there is, because basically I don't believe in aliens. But if there is, we need to know about it. The American people need to be made aware of it, to ready ourselves. Okay? But I don't necessarily believe there are aliens. I think it's still just the rich people controlling the backbone of our information superhighway, if you will. And they've hijacked our government, and they use networks like Google, Facebook, and Twitter to monitor our activities. And that much we know because of Edward Snowden, the disinformation agent released by the NSA to promote the truth, that the NSA is watching everybody. And find out and measure your response. See how much control they can take while the American people are not looking. And I know you're looking, and I know that this show is probably one of the only landmarks out there on the internet that's standing up against the New World Order. But we really have to prepare for the possibility that these people want to start wars. They want to continue manipulating our currency. They want to weaken our individual personal savings. They want to cause cancer in average Americans who eat genetically modified food with Roundup chemicals in it. They seriously want to destroy 90% of the population. So we really have this election and possibly the next election to stop them. There's not a lot of time left. So yes, I know this sounds pretty grave and serious, but We are at a very brink point in our development, and the only reason why I'm even doing this is because I can. There will be a time in the near future, possibly if I'm not elected, where we won't be able to broadcast because it will be too costly. I know that sounds pretty crazy, but the free internet is becoming more or less and less free. And it's really going to be a problem for startups like ours, which has stood the test of time without donations for a long, long time. Yeah, Roundup herbicide is in our beer. I know. They studied the average urine of Americans, and they found 93% of us are pissing glyphosate. So it's just a matter of time before we are in trouble. All of us individually, physically. Healthcare costs, cancer, you name it. No matter how tough you are genetically, they're aiming to get rid of you environmentally. So we can't stop the resistance to this two-party oligarchy. Thank you for coming in.
We can't stop, and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. We can't stop, we can't stop.
So let's be clear.
In this coming election year, please vote for David Sponheim. America's Party.
Sponheim for president. We can't stop, we can't stop, and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop.
First we hit 'em low, then we hit 'em high. Underrated, but we made it to the finish line. Rhymes designed to combine and intertwine. Spring to the summer, fall, even winter time. Beats banging harder, then head-on collisions. We make incisions with precision and quick decisions, causing double visions. If you ain't up to speed, you need to speed it up, partner. Piano read.
We can't stop and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, we can't stop, we can't stop, we can't stop, can't stop, and we won't stop.
In this coming election year, please vote for David Sponheim. America's Party.
Can't stop, and we won't stop. We're gonna dance all night, bring it on to the sunlight. Can't stop, can't stop, can't stop, can't stop.
All right, so we are dealing with a lot of conflict overseas, but we can mitigate that by resolving our problems with Russia, telling Putin that we're going to pull out of Syria, not going to fund rebel troops there anymore. We will, however, provide humanitarian support for the Syrian people, but not refugees coming into our country. That's something I would never allow. Second of all, we're going to make sure that we rebuild relations with some of the fragmented relations that have been left by Barack Obama, but we're not going to be overly friendly with the Soviet Union, former Soviet Union, Russia. We're not going to be embracing the concepts that they seemingly want, which is obviously continued human rights abuses, which we've deplored over the past many decades. So we're going to continue a kind of a standoffish approach to Russia. We're not going to be overly friendly like Donald Trump wants. It doesn't suit our purposes to be overly friendly with Russia. It really doesn't. We don't need to have Russia controlling the inner self, the inner circle of America. And that's, in a way, the reason why I'm a little concerned that Donald Trump has become buddy-buddy with the Russian mobsters. It undermines our national security. So that's a big thing that I have to address as well. But I definitely want to lower the level of hostility we have toward Russia. And I won't be calling Putin anything other than respectful things, because I do respect his position and his efforts to maintain leadership and a good, strong direction for Russia. It just doesn't happen to merge with ours necessarily. All right. So, as you can see, we're still a very strong nation on all different levels. More money is spent on our country's military than all the other nations combined. But we want to cut that significantly. And like other people are using this idea, like Jill Stein's using the idea I came up with, cutting the military budget by 50%, I want to do the same. I want to cut the military budget by nearly 50%. We're going to work toward that goal. There's no guarantees any one of these ideas will be that wonderful. But $1 billion for this particular aircraft is really, really too much. And I really believe that we've got a problem with the kind of contract apportionments we've made for various military industrial complex companies like Northrop. I would never have authorized $1 billion for that. I never would. I've fallen and I can't get up. Let's take a look. Wow. This is weird. What is this? A crowd dynamics test using Miarmi for Maya shows the new servo force feature which allows struggling animation once the agent has become dynamic. That is so weird. Huh. I am quite shocked by this animation. I don't know what to think. Looks like they're all like writhing in pain. Well, apparently it clears the entire... this is another way of using crowd control measures. It's a Trump rally. Okay, thank you. I had no idea. He has automated features if you don't agree with him. Or was that one of John Podesta's efforts to seed rebellion within a Trump rally? Get on the blade. Did I come back to an electric motor made of people? I don't know. I look at it. I don't even know what that was. Weird plane without windows pulverizing. Oh, this is the talk of the chemtrail planes they've got that fly themselves, that don't have any windows. They're really weird. You got to wonder what the hell's going on. Many of us are sitting in awe of all the evil things that are happening around the world right now. One of them is being dumped on with chemical sprays. And this is something. Hey there, Mad Dog. Hey man, how you doing? Hey, Batuze Plays. Hey there, over at YouTube. You gonna pound your nose? Man.
We can't stop.
But we have to stop, just to figure out what the hell this is. Well, whatever it is, it's locked up my board. So I'm going to remove it. Alrighty. So we are pretty shocked that Donald Trump basically is almost surrendering to Clinton right now. It's bizarre. Many of you Trump supporters have probably been shocked by his behavior. I know, but I tried to tell you he was just installed to take down the Republican Party, and ultimately he succeeded. So if the possibility is still out there that he could win this election, then I'll be a monkey's uncle. I really don't know what to say. If you really think that's possible, so I guess I don't want to kill your dream like he just killed your dream. I want to offer you all the best things that we've offered over the years, and that's the ocean pipeline, which Donald called the ocean dome, and he stole the idea. Nice work, Donald. But the nice thing is this whole campaign continues on. And despite the loss of Donald Trump in this election, we can all get behind this campaign now. We can kind of get behind it in solidarity. Hi, Ed. How are you? You know, instead of hating on each other, it could be kind of a rallying point. So, you know, I don't hold your beliefs against you if you believe that Trump is the way and the light. I just believe that we got a problem with the existing status quo that Trump represents and Hillary represents. And that's why a lot of us have held back putting faith in Trump. And for a good reason, because obviously he's kind of squandered the ground he walks on. You can't be a womanizer like Bill Clinton and say, well, I'm not as bad as Bill Clinton. I mean, that's not really going to cut it with the American people. They're sick and tired of this lascivious behavior in the White House. And I've not liked this guy. I don't grope women. I treat women absolutely with utter respect. And my long-standing monogamous relationship with Sarah is a classic example of that. I've never cheated on her, and I don't plan on cheating on her ever. So a lot of you really need to restore your view of what a good leader is all about. A president who focuses on the problems, not his you-know-what. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to bid you the opportunity to get all the things you wanted with Trump, the keeping refugees out of our country. But I'm not going to be IDing Muslims, and I'm not going to be deportation forces. The deportation force idea is very poorly thought out. It puts our nation at risk by putting troops in the ground, going door to door, and I wouldn't do that. But we will work on Islamic jihadism that's forming in the country, and Obama hasn't done a damn thing. We've got numerous groups that are arming up with munitions that are specifically Muslim and have one goal in mind, and that's bad deeds in this country. But the average Muslim isn't to blame for that. And the average Muslim should not be punished in a country that's dedicated to freedom of speech. It's unacceptable. But for these people to be arming up and be having caches of munitions, we'll send special force teams together, FBI included, and without any pre-warning, we will go right in and we will make sure that we can get those people to surrender their arms and their munitions. And it won't be anything like Waco. We will work around the problem. You know, Waco could have been handled a lot differently. You know, if any one of these groups poses a problem, we could just put a fence around the entire area and keep them there and starve them out. So we have the ability to deal with threats. But don't in any way cast blame on average people who are pursuing their religion because they were raised that way. We do not want Sharia law in any one of our cities. And that'll be a very clear message to those people. If they're practicing the benign aspect of Sharia law, maybe they're self-flagellating as they go north to Allah. Yeah, go ahead and whip yourself. There's no law against whipping yourself. I'm sure people are getting off on that right now. Yeah, Ross Perot had a lot in common with Trump. Both would have gotten Clinton elected at the end of the day. Good point. The reason why the Democrats are so concerned about me is because I was a former Democrat and I understand their party. But I don't side with their party on so many different levels. I don't side with cap and trade. I don't side with the idea of taxing and spending. I don't believe that we should just continue to suck up to corporations and let them control the inner workings of our country. And I certainly don't believe the UN should be involved in our foreign policy. We're going to show you something that's really freaky. And you'll begin to wonder if you aren't being taken over by aliens. The money we look at. Check this out. Isn't this weird? This is what happens when you increase the contrast in this picture. Isn't that a trip? You're looking at a dollar bill, and as you increase the contrast, you see the alien overlord looking down upon us. Yeah, isn't that freaky? Now, this is foreshadowing. It could very well be a plan. Thank you for that link, Scissor Fight. That was incredible. It could very well be a plan by the elitists to just pretend like there's aliens. But like I said, if there are aliens and I can touch them, and I know that they're not fake, we will be discussing that. I have commitment to full disclosure. You know, I'm an anti-Zionist, so I don't really deal with extremism in the Zionist world. I'm not in favor of sects of people that are strong and ardent Zionists. I will not take money from the AIPAC super fund. The American Israeli Political Action Committee is not something I would ever take money from. So I've got standards that are really locked in cement. And I believe that the American people need somebody like me rapidly, right now. We cannot wait. We have to start working within the media instead of sitting outside the media. So without media representation, I'm going to be kind of still sitting out there outside the media. But until we reach critical mass and people talking about what this effort is, and it's reaching critical mass, it's going to reach that point eventually, then I'll be glad to be a representative and get the things that I promise you are necessary for our country to move forward. Legalization of marijuana is extremely important. I don't want to give that up. I don't care if you really want medical marijuana. I still think recreational is the way to go. It lowers the barrier, how much money we have to...
Fees grow for citizens as
Iraqi army advances into ISIS, held Mosul. Where's the vision of battles? We're seeing an immediate Mosul encounter going on right now. And PK Truth is going to talk about that tonight at 9:30. No, I don't think legalization of all drugs is possible right now, Yaman. What I'm proposing is if 2/3 of the country wants legalization of all drugs, which I know they don't from the polls I've seen, but we are looking at 60% who have actually said they're in favor of recreational right now, which is enough for me to move in that direction on recreational. You know, Obama saying it's okay for ISIS to do anything, Edgar, is just not appropriate. They created ISIS. Of course, Barack Obama is going to say it's okay for ISIS to do this because of this, that, and the other thing. There is no reason or justification for war. War is hell, and no president in your future should ever say that the pathway to peace is war. We need to get our troops home. We need to stop pressing our vision upon the world and pushing democracy in other countries. We need to start with a democracy here because we've lost that. We don't have a democracy here. We only have two parties, and they're completely controlled. We have the fictitious belief that we have a wannabe representative democracy, but it's really just the people that have money hire the people that we choose to be our representatives in the corporation called the United States. And believe it or not, I found this really shocking, but the United States is a different legal country than the United States of America. And legally it's seen differently. The United States of America was bankrupted back in March 9th, 1933. Completely bankrupted by FDR. And the United States of America has been bankrupted since then. Prior to that, they created the United States Corporation in 1871 with the Act of 1871, and they were ready to go, and they just implemented that strategy. But the United States Corporation owes $20 trillion. The United States of America doesn't owe $20 trillion, or near that. So we have a good logical argument to move away from the United States Corporation, bankrupt it, and pull the United States of America out of bankruptcy, and in the process reattain all of our assets overseas, or at least threaten to get our assets back. Because we could do that. We could tell the World Bank that we want the gold held in trust for the Federal Reserve in our name, in our possession, and brought back to Fort Knox. And that's close to $40 trillion. Now, if they don't want to bring the gold from the Japanese War and the German War back to our nation, and they want to play this game, there's other avenues around this to deal with the ultra-elitists who think they run the world and America. So this is a real challenge that we're putting together as a grassroots effort, and I'm just very excited that you guys respond well to the ideas that we have on our website. You wouldn't be here watching if you didn't. So everything points to me to go forward and keep honing the message and helping the American people realize a better future for themselves and their children. Because right now we're looking at a pretty bleak future with the two parties. The Federal Reserve Bank Parish is owned by the Rothschilds. It's one of their banks that they own. And the Rothschilds have 160 banks. Yeah, I can. I'll give you a link to show you. Here's a list of banks owned by the Rothschild family. This is a guy who just has a LinkedIn account, but you might as well go for it. You can look online for the list of Rothschild banks. They're pretty good. This guy's a LinkedIn Pulse image. They talk about all the banks here. Here's a list of them. I can give you an itemization, but at the bottom they show the Federal Reserve. Owned and controlled by the Rothschild family, and it goes on. They own Bank of Afghanistan, Bank of Albania, Bank of Algeria, Central Bank of Argentina, Central Bank of Romania, Central Bank of Aruba, Reserve Bank of Australia. I mean, it goes on and on. And then down at the bottom here, and you can even comment on it. Virtually unknown to the general public is the fact that the U.S. Federal Reserve is a privately owned bank company sitting on its very own patch of land immune to U.S. laws. Look at that. So the Federal Reserve is, even on its own private land, immune to U.S. laws. We have a lot of problems. We're going to have to overturn the Fed in Congress or use a pathway to retire their charter. But we're going to have to work on that. But thanks for a good question there, man. Thank you. Wowza, yeah. They own everything. And that's why a lot of you are tuning into the reality that we are being played by very powerful moneyed elitists. And their primary goal is to censor us. And they've done a very good job of censoring us. Even Vaughn has cut us back completely. I don't really care if they look accurate. You want me to get you another link, Amanda? All right, we can do that. It's okay. It doesn't matter. There's all kinds of links here. A complete list of banks owned and controlled by the Rothschild family. Here's another one, realityswatch.com. I mean, just look it up. Go ahead and tweet her, Dieter. Twitter, Dieter. Yes. So now you're beginning to see the whole picture. And I'm glad you at least tuned in to watch the show, because you wouldn't know about all these links to war and how they've been making money on war, selling armaments to both sides for years. The grand plan of the first sphere of influence is to create a global mononation. Please do not confuse this with the term globalization. Mononation and globalization couldn't be more different in concept, scope, and purpose. Mononation is one state. It has one government. One set of laws for all ordinary citizens, no laws for the elite. Globalization refers to the communicating, trading, interacting, etc. among separate, different, independent, sovereign countries. But I don't trust globalization either, for obvious reasons. The Rothschild centrally owned banks are on this site as well. There you go. Thank you. Next subject. How the F did the Rothschild acquire the Bank of Cuba? Well, Batista, our government, we own quite a bit of land. And, of course, when countries are taken over by communist regimes, they break down the fabric of the company, or the country, and they could easily become mush or putty in the eyes of an unscrupulous land baron like the Rothschilds. So we're really fighting extreme greed now. And this show is the opposite of the greed. I'm non-materialistic. I've always been non-materialistic. My whole goal is never to become a wealthy person. I realize that I'm actually walking into a situation that could lead to my death. But my concern for the country and for the future of all of our lives really is powering me up, a belief in principles. And it bypasses all the garbage along the way. That's why I've been able to sustain this show for 8 years with a good, solid message. If I was in this for the money, I would have dropped off a long time ago, because we don't take a single penny from this show personally, for our personal benefit. And we are 100% FEC compliant still. So you got the real deal with me. I'm willing to go the distance to save this nation. It's up to you if you want to vote for me and write my name in. And change the dimension of politics, at least between now and the next election. Because that's really what we're up against. They're effectively keeping me out of the mix and unable to communicate. And with my intelligence, it's really a crime to pull me out of the scenario that could very well benefit our country and other countries by simply solving America's problems and taking care of our own. We don't need to worry about other countries. Our priorities are all mixed up because the World Bank and the Rothschilds have their little sticky fingers in our country telling us what to do because they need a police force. And if we no longer are the 911 police force of the world, they will lose a leg of their empire. And you might even see the European Union collapse, which I predict it will. This global world alliance, or this idea of mono-nations, which the Rothschilds believe in, or even globalization, is just not good business. The nation-state model has succeeded over centuries and will continue to succeed despite the efforts of individuals like the Rothschilds to control the destiny of all of our nations on this planet. So this is a very ill thought out plan of theirs, which will crash and burn, because the American people are not that easily controlled. At our heart, we will reject globalism or the idea of one nation leading over all of our nations. Now, Obama made some statements recently that really shocked me, and I'm going to close the show down on my end. I'll play videos the rest of the night, but this is absolutely the intent of the New World Order. And I'm going to play one of his recent speeches where he talks about how he wants our country to submit to an international authority. This is why they put Obama in place. This is why they've got Donald under their thumb and Hillary under their thumb, and they don't believe another person is ever going to win this election. And the only way to bypass their power is a write-in candidacy like mine. Anyway, thank you very much for coming in. I'll leave with this scary note about the UN. Good night. Have a great weekend, and watching videos tonight, you'll get to talk and share. And I'll open up guest chat. Take care, everyone.
But we have to put our money where our mouths are.
And we can only realize the promise of this institution's founding to replace the ravages of war with cooperation if powerful nations, like my own, accept constraints. Sometimes I'm criticized in my own country for professing a belief in international norms and multilateral institutions, but I am convinced that in the long run, giving up some freedom of action, not giving up our ability to protect ourselves or pursue our core interests, but binding ourselves to international rules over the long term enhances our security. And I think
have good relations with both leaders of Russia. That goes without saying. President Putin, or former President Putin, now Prime Minister, is considered by many to still be the major string puller, if I could put it that way, in Russia.
RuckusWorld.com.
Ali.
Everybody get up. My fellow Americans, it has come to my attention a black man is in the White House. Please rest assured the Secret Service is looking into the matter, and the black man will be dealt with. Thank you. If you're talking about